Hello, everybody, far and wide, and welcome to this forum that looks back in time. Courtesy of Casa D18 Studios, we hope you enjoy what's being called Throwback Thursday. Over the coming weeks, months, and hopefully years to come, we hope that you will enjoy us opening the vaults and archives to look back at some of the most unique content across all of our platforms, whether it's Casa D18 Studios, the Jeff Meacham Network, NoDQ.com, my Sybil YouTube channel, The Sybil Man's Brand, and of course, FTW Productions, hosted by James Hebert at jhebertside95. It basically is just going to offer you a ton of classic content. So with that being said, buckle up, have fun, take a seat, just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling and enjoy what this Throwback Thursday has in store for you. And again, I hope that you stay tuned for many more that hopefully will come too.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Hello pals, Alyssa Marino here, and as a friend of Parker Kane Promotions, I am super excited to share the awesomeness that they've got in store for you this November at WrestleCade. You'll be seeing the world-traveling Capital Championship Wrestling Global Fighting Champ Rebecca J. Scott, a rising star who's been featured on Ladies Night Out, MCW, and more, the stunner Emily J., an internationally traveled talent who you've seen on NXT UK and Stardom, Angel of the Ring Zaya Brookside, and NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion Chicago's Sweetheart Missa Kate will also be appearing live. It's all going down WrestleCade weekend in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. You can catch these stars brought to you by Parker Kane Promotions on Saturday, November 25th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And be sure to stick around for Ladies Night Out the following day on Sunday, November 26th. You can get your WrestleCade weekend tickets at WrestleCade.com.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com. NoDQ.com.
No DQ Galaxy, we are back with the No DQ review number 29. And as you see, we have the A-team here today. Aaron Rift, Jeff Meacham, and Greg Cherry. So let's go around the horn. What's up, Wrestling Challenge Trivia Champion? Did I get that right? That's always a mouthful for me.
Nope.
So there you go. Tell the world what you are. I think we already know.
I am longest reigning Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion in history. 151 days strong this reign. In a couple weeks, I actually surpassed Jeff all time. And
You would have, yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm just a couple wins away, and if it's anything like last week was, I'm not gonna have a problem.
God bless Sydney. It's funny watching these people step up, and I remember back to people I shut out, or the 16-1, right, Daniel? Hi, Daniel. Stuff like that. It's just it's mind-boggling to think that people still have the bravado to step up to anybody about trivia that happens to have a no DQ shirt on or a no DQ hat on, because we've been kicking ass for 2 years now. Come on.
Yep.
And you two are 2-2 against each other, by the way.
This is true. And were the rules not in place the way they are in place, we could definitely have the rubber match, but it's not going to happen.
Okay. So, Jeff, how's it going?
It's going good now that I'm sitting here in the room with you three fine people. It's been a day, but let's get it done.
Aaron Rift, what's new?
Oh, a lot of things are new. I have some heat on Twitter. I'm getting more heel heat than you now, but I'm glad to be here on the No DQ review. Let's talk about the happenings in WWE this week, maybe some of the stuff going on outside of WWE. No shortage of topics this week, I'm sure, and maybe we'll stir up even more controversy. Let's see how this goes.
Aaron's looking jacked there, man. What is this, Oregon Suns out, guns out today?
So,
look at you, man. Look at you.
We got a list of topics, but and I never always go in order. I'm looking at it, Aaron. You brought up the heat. Let's discuss it, because everybody knows Aaron riffed on Twitter all week because of his stance of saying, if you don't like Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, walk out. So this is the question I'm going to ask the review panel. How should fans protest matches and storylines that they don't like, they don't agree with? And should we blame the talent? Should we blame management, or a combination of both? So I'm going to start with you, Greg Cherry. We want Aaron, maybe we're all going to agree. But let's see if any of us have some different takes on this.
Well, I'm going to start it off by saying, is there really a point to doing it? I mean, is management just going to do whatever they want anyway? It's like you could have a freaking empty arena match, Lesnar versus Reigns, and they're probably still going to make Reigns the only person that can challenge Lesnar. I know, Virtue, you're a Reigns guy, and that's fine. But my point is, it's like, why don't we just see how this plays out? I mean, as much as, like, I'm not a fan of Reigns being the only person, there you go, Reigns being the only person to get Universal Championship shots the last 3 or 4 times, I mean, let's see how it plays out. I mean, the Money in the Bank is still in play. We have the match with Strowman and Owens happening, which could go literally either way with the stipulation set up. So there is a multitude of possibilities that could happen, that people walk away from the SummerSlam main event being like, oh, this is awesome. Well, compared to 2013 with how good that was all set up, I don't know. But, just wait. You can boo the match out of the building. You're still reacting to it. I don't think there's a point in protesting matches. I really don't.
All right, so before I go to you, Jeff, Aaron, everybody knows your stance. Do you want to add, have you been enlightened with all this Twitter stuff to what you've said? Or do you want to just rephrase it or rehash it? Go ahead.
No, there's not much else to say about it. I feel that if people want to protest, just going to the shows and booing Roman Reigns isn't working. WWE is going to push Roman Reigns regardless of what the fans do, and the more noise they make, the more WWE is going to feel they're justified in pushing Roman Reigns. What I suggested on Twitter was maybe try something different. Maybe try something we've never seen before. Now, I know a lot of people on Twitter said, well, even if people left the building and they organized a walkout, WWE is still not going to make a change. Maybe so, but we've never seen it before. We've never seen, like, a large part of the audience. Imagine the 205 Live size crowd for Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar how that would look on television. That would be something to see. And who knows? You never know how WWE might react if something like that happened, where you had a massive walkout at the end of the show. And people are like, well, I spent a lot of money on this pay-per-view, so I'm not leaving it. My response to that is, it's a 7-hour show. You're getting a lot of entertainment. So if you're going to do it, why not do it for that last 20 minutes and get a head start out of the arena? But yeah, I upset a lot of people. People telling me to get a life. People telling me that I'm acting childish. All sorts of funny things over one tweet. It was quite entertaining, but I did get like 400 something likes on that tweet. A lot of people agree with me. Like Roman Reigns, it's a very polarizing tweet. Let's just put it that way. So, Jeff, your thoughts on it. And by the way, I don't know if any protesting is going to work at this stage of the game. But if people never protested with anything in life, then changes would never be made. So sometimes you have to take a stand. So, Jeff, your thoughts on the situation.
Well, let me first address the haters of Aaron Rift on Twitter by saying, for those of us that think we don't have girlfriends, 2 divorces, a marriage, and a kid. So, yeah, fuck off. Yeah. Anyway, as far as the hate on the Reigns-Lesnar thing and whether we should walk out, what should we do? I took a 30-day wrestling challenge over the course of July on social media, and on day 30, I said, and I meant it, it has never been a better time to be a fan of professional wrestling. If you don't like WWE, that's okay. You can watch Impact if you dare. You can watch Ring of Honor. You can watch New Japan. You can watch NXT. NXT is WWE, but it's still the best damn show on wrestling television, I think, in my opinion. It really is. You have local independents. Virtue works for independent circuits right now in Ohio. Greg used to work for him. I used to work for him. Aaron's done a few things with indies out here. There are options. Rather than spending however much you're going to spend for a ticket that you know you're going to get noticed walking out at SummerSlam or whatever the case may be, don't go at all. Don't put down your $10 a month for the WWE Network. Or if you do, make it a point to not watch the pay-per-view. That way those little tickers on the network say, well, they're not watching. Why aren't they watching? Watch Impact. Order their pay-per-views. Go to Fight TV and order the All-In simulcast pay-per-views and the podcast pay-per-views, and watch All-In the pre-show on WGN America. Choose the alternatives. If you don't like what you're seeing, you have options. Rather than sit here and bitch and moan and kvetch, do something about it. Find the alternative. Make that your choice. And maybe if enough people do that, Vince will go, they're not watching my product. I wonder why.
And I don't think people would walk out during the match because they can't. They want to get themselves over in front of the camera.
Exactly.
After the match, we've seen it happen, right? With Joe and Reigns, so, because they're leaving anyway. So I don't think the people in masses have the balls, so to speak, to do it beyond that. Now, with that said, I believe they should sit there. Right? You're going to a wrestling show. You're not going to like everybody. The design of the game is to have good guys and bad guys. Unfortunately, people are more opinionated than ever because of social media, the internet. Sometimes people like the bad guys and don't like the good guys. And some people play along. That's fine. If you don't like that match, respect it. Sit there. If you have to go to the bathroom or if you want to go get some food, that's fine. Come right back. Just don't react. Could you imagine, Aaron, to trump what you said, all the people in the arena being quiet as the match is happening. But that's not going to happen either. I believe what people should do, take all that energy that they want to put to hate, disrespecting the talent, and they should cheer the people that they like even louder. Now, does that always work? No. Zack Ryder, but Daniel Bryan, it sure did for Daniel Bryan.
Randy Orton right now is not working. The office wants people to boo Randy Orton. He's getting more cheers than he ever has.
Because he has an edge.
And again, just go to the parts of the show, give that extra energy instead of hating on the stuff you don't like. Just be quiet during the stuff you don't like, play on your phone, but don't be rude, And I guess some people want to blame management like me, right? Because they're the ones with it's Vince McMahon's chessboard, and he's moving all these pieces around. Yeah. Some people, and I'm not going to mention their names, want to blame the talent. I would say blame Roman Reigns for being the way he is, but the fact is he can't be any more than that. That's what they're having him do. If he was supposed to go out there and ad-lib and freestyle, and he sucked at it, and we could all see it, right, then I would say Roman's not good. Right? If he couldn't be like, you know how The Rock and Austin really had their own freedom to go out there and morph what the creative told them to do into their own, they don't allow that anymore. We know that because Kurt Angle stumbles over his lines, right? When did Kurt ever stumble over his lines?
Never.
Until he was general manager of Raw. So that's just what that's my take on it.
And Reigns is talented. The guy is really good in the ring, and I think in the right role, he could really succeed. I mean, he is succeeding, but he could succeed at even a higher level. The whole issue here is that fans feel that it's being shoved down their throats the same way John Cena was. And people on Twitter were pointing out, well, you know, you don't complain about AJ Nakamura wrestling 4 or 5 times and all this stuff. The thing about Reigns and Lesnar...
I do.
Yeah, I mean, we have complained about it, but the thing about... Okay, they were talking about feuds from the 80s and 90s, too, like feuds where they just kept doing matches over and over again, even Rock versus Austin. The big difference is those feuds had organic builds, and the crowd was able to pick which person they wanted to cheer and which to boo. And with Reigns and Lesnar, the crowd is being forced psychologically to like Roman Reigns through the writing of the storyline. Reigns is being scripted as the good guy, and the fans are having to fight that tooth and nail. And that's why they're frustrated. But
Aaron, I understand that, and I agree with that to a certain extent. But the problem is we're conditioned to cheer for Reigns and boo Lesnar, but then they go against, okay, well, let's make Lesnar a badass, they'll cheer for him instead. But now they're booking him as completely indifferent, like he doesn't care. If the world champion, or universal champion, if the top champion of the brand doesn't care about even being there, why should we invest and care about his feuds?
Right, and that's the problem. The way WWE has booked this match, they're trying to get the fans to cheer for Reigns, but the problem is now people are not going to care about either guy since Lesnar doesn't care, and they're trying to get the crowd to go against Lesnar. So we'll see what happens. You know, I just said that tweet because I sense that match is going to get booed out of the building, and we've seen it already. We've seen it several times, and nothing has come from it. So I was just merely suggesting the idea, why don't you guys try something different? And this was a message to those fans that don't like the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar storyline that are going to SummerSlam. And somehow this got twisted to I don't like Roman Reigns, and I'm trying to encourage people that spent their hard-earned money to go to SummerSlam to not watch the show, which is not
That's
the case
what
at
the
all.
internet does, Aaron. That's what the internet does.
Yeah.
Twist things. Greg, did you have something to add?
I did a few minutes ago.
That's why I was waiting for him.
Yeah, you know, this storyline, I think the creative team is trying to outsmart the smart fans. Like, use their hatred for Lesnar against them. Be like, okay, this is the reason you should hate him. And the thing is, we still see through it.
Well, we do, but that's why I set the tweet out. I'm trying to tell people, are you guys going to fall for this? If you just go there and boo, that's what WWE wants. Roman Reigns even went on Twitter, and he says it repeatedly. It's all about the noise. That's all he cares about. You know, it doesn't faze him. The noise is what matters. And that's what I'm trying to tell the people with that tweet. I'm like, you know what, guys? Are you going to fall for it? If you go there and boo, that's what WWE wants. So try something
Virtue's
different.
got it right. Just seriously, sit on your hands. Don't clap. Don't do squat. And if enough people do that, you're playing your phone. Do something to occupy your time in a quiet library-style tone. Vince will go, that's being quiet.
But he still has, you know, there's still the kids and the women in his fans that, you know, you're never going to get that complete silence.
No, and to quote me, here's the thing: you're never going to get that. So why should we even hope that the smart fans will rally together and jump up? It's like, no, there's not enough of us out there to counteract the women and the children.
Right. Well, listen. So part of the reason the women and children are so loud is because they're trying to be louder than the male fans that are booing him. Vince is having the two sides work against each other, and that's what leads to the louder crowd reaction. Perfect example, look at the Backlash pay-per-view, Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. People were leaving during that match. They were booing. They were showing a lack of interest, but the women and children were not even making noise because the male fans were not reacting.
They were bailing.
Yeah, it wasn't a situation where the two sides were trying to outdo each other, and when you don't have that boisterous male audience booing, the women and children just aren't as invested in it.
Right, but I think that all that honestly does, them walking out during the main event, whether it was advertised main event or not, whether during the last match, just shows the male fans' ignorance. Because, well, I'm going to spend $60 or whatever for a ringside seat. I'm going to walk into the main event and not get my money's worth. It's like, yeah, they feel like they get the money's worth, but they paid $60 for a full show, and they're not getting a full show. They're going to beat the traffic and not show. Oh, I'm going to show Vince I don't like this darn match and. It's like, yeah, and you just spent how much money to sit at ringside? Now you're leaving early. You're an idiot.
Jeff, where are you getting a ringside seat for $60?
I was about to say, yeah, you might be able to get PWG for that, but I don't think.
No,
that's okay. PWG
not even,
it is,
not even now. Not even in 2018 can you get.
Are you seriously?
PWG.
Gorilla's not 60 ringside anymore. They were earlier this year.
It's at least 80, I think now.
Jeez.
All right. Well, before we
remember when, Aaron? Remember when?
Yeah.
Before we get too many thumbs down talking about Roman and Brock, let's move on. Sasha and Bayley. So not too long ago, they were going to feud them. Or, at least that's what it looked like.
Right.
Bayley was the aggressor. Now we have WWE Evolution coming up. When? October 28th? We're going to hear that a million more times. And it's interesting, now they are friends again, and they're and when I watch this, and Greg, I'll start with you again, because I know you like Sasha. Are they making, is it always Sasha coming out with Bayley and her music, or is it just when, I'm confused, because I always see, they're making, to me, it's like Sasha is in Bayley's shadow. What are they doing with this? Like, they were beating each other up and arguing in front of lockers. Now they're friends, BFFs again.
Don't ask me. I don't know what they're doing.
That's your girl, though. Guy, it's your girl, man. Come on.
I know. And I love Sasha. I really do. But I think that they are trying to make people forget about that, so that when they come back to it, it's more of a shock.
Right.
Because I think they wanted to go the route of Sasha and Bayley at SummerSlam. But since they did the women's pay-per-view, now probably they're trying to save a big match for that. It's like, oh my gosh, quit dragging it out. Just do it already.
Do you think they're going to bring in women's tag team titles? Because I'm just thinking, why would you put them back together like that?
The only reason to bring in women's tag team titles, if they did that, number one, they could not make them like brand exclusive. They would have to have them defended across Raw, SmackDown, and NXT too, if you're going to have women's tag team titles, because you do not have enough women on one set of rosters to make a significant...
Which would be fine, would be fine.
And realistically, they should have done that with the World and the regular women's titles, too. Just had those, like, cross-brand, but that's another story.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that before, but I feel like the WWE writing team doesn't even know where the Sasha Banks and Bayley storyline is going. It might change. It might change on a week-to-week basis, and they're just doing the tag team thing for now. And who knows? Next week, Vince or somebody else might make the call. Hey, let's get this storyline with them going. Let's split them up and have them feud again. Who knows? It could change. It could change on a weekly basis, and that's why it's hard to get invested in these storylines, because all it takes is Vince changing his mind, and the storyline could just go in a totally different direction. Jeff, your thoughts?
It's funny. Somebody brought this up on Twitter. I forget who it was, but I think, Aaron, you actually retweeted it, or maybe you liked it or something. Our NoDQ Twitter liked it or retweeted it. When they announced Evolution, and it was it's a first airway pay-per-view, and it's a monumental, it's another shift that WWE's made. It's like, okay, when they decided to get behind this women's revolution, the Divas Revolution, whatever you want to call it, who have they primarily focused on? Charlotte, Ronda, Alexa, the blonde, pretty ones. You notice Sasha and Bayley, they are both very attractive, but they're not the blonde statuesque. They're not the, oh my God, let's focus on them. So they're okay. Well, here, let's give them this to do, and we'll throw Nia, the big girl, in there to do something with Alexa, because she's got a look to her. So we'll do that, and we'll have Becky over here being Charlotte's side buddy because she's the redhead and she's got a cool hairdo. And it's like, unless you're the main folk, unless you're Ronda Rousey or Charlotte Flair or Carmella, who's also blonde and got a look to her, they're not focusing on that right now. They're gonna have to do some serious monumental shifts to really make people invest in the entire women's roster rather than just those three or four people.
Interesting theory, Jeff.
Yeah, and you know what it screams to me? Like Vince McMahon doesn't even know what's going on with these two, and he's actually letting his team of writers, which it's no secret, a percentage of those writers are probably ex-soap opera writers. Yep. Remember there used to be a dozen soap operas on TV, and now there's like 3? Yep. What happened to all of them? They got canceled. Where are all those writers? Probably some of them are in WWE doing stale storylines that helped get those soap operas canceled.
There is only so many stories you can tell before it's some version of a rehash. It's in every form of entertainment, be it movies, television, anything. There's only like 7 stories, period.
Yeah, it's hard to come up with something new. I mean, that's definitely a challenge for the writers, which is why you got to cut them some slack. But at the same time, they're not really making the effort to try different things with the women.
And I think, honestly, Aaron, we are, as far as our generation, is very spoiled in that we grew up in the Attitude Era when we were teenagers. We were getting fed that, over-hormonal freaking WWF TV and WCW to a certain extent.
And there was a lot of innovation.
There was a lot of it. There was a lot of it from WWF. There was a lot of WCW. Even ECW was doing their thing and really attracting the hardcore Smart Mark fans. There was so much of it that was different from each of it, but it was still cool to watch all of it. Now, there is so much of it to watch if you know where to look. The thing is, people are so ingrained that WWE is professional wrestling, from our parent generation and their parent generation. It's very much a generational thing. And Bischoff even said this on this podcast this week. It's like WCW had to fight from the ground up to make people realize that the WWF did not just mean professional wrestling. The WWF was one company. There is more than one company out there. And yes, NXT is still WWE, but it's kind of a separate little niche like we talked about before many times on this show. There are the choices to make, and I think that the WWE finally getting on board with this women's revolution, whether you want to give TNA credit for the knockouts in the first place at least back then or not, without TNA realizing that Gail Kim was more than just a flash in the pan, there wouldn't have been a great knockouts division. Gail Kim wouldn't have been a Hall of Famer. So it's kind of, TNA deserves the credit for that to a certain extent, but WWE has taken it and tried to amplify it and make it tenfold, but they focused on like 4 people out of how many girls on the roster?
Yep. Greg?
This also goes back to the old wrestling bookers versus writers discussion. NXT has wrestling bookers. WWE has writers.
Yep.
Which one's the better show? NXT, which has wrestling.
I wouldn't say booker. I seriously wouldn't say bookers. I really wouldn't. Nobody. WWE doesn't have wrestling
minds. That's my point. People who know the business and knows what can get over. These writers have no idea.
Triple H, Terry Taylor, Shawn, I'll give you that.
Dumb because they literally work for WWE.
Well, I mean, and again, there's too many yes men that tell Vince ideas, and you know how many bad ideas probably come from a sea of 20 people? A lot.
You know what? I kind of take away from that. I don't know if that's necessarily true anymore, because I honestly think that if there were that many yes men, we wouldn't get any good ideas, because Vince is a good 20 years behind the times, I think, in my own personal opinion, in his mindset. I think if there were more yes men like we think they are, I think it'd be a much, much worse show than it already is.
How much is Vince worth, by the way?
I'm not saying way more than any of us, and virtually at this point, I'm very much on Twitter and social media. The fact of the matter is, no matter how much we bitch and gripe, he's still worth $1 billion-something, and that's fine. But his mindset about his direction of the company, as far as the storylines, I think is not completely conducive to today's market. My opinion.
Another topic, another time, but a market cap of over $6 billion, and that's WWE. So crazy. All right. Kayfabe Candy Ass, contributor to NoDQ, gave me a question.
Sweet.
And this is loaded, maybe? I don't know. Not really. So he brought up Brock Lesnar's Universal Championship reign, AJ Styles' WWE Championship reign, going back before then, we know Goldberg had that brief run, but KO was the Universal Champion for, what, 5 months maybe? 6 months?
Yeah.
I tried to calculate it out. And Jinder had a long run. He asked, in this new era of long-term champions? Because I went back and I looked at a lot of title reigns, and there were some long ones previous to the last year or two, but I saw a lot of 14-day, 1 day, 52. I saw a lot of those. And he asked, is this the new era? Are we having main champions hold titles longer? So I just want to know everybody's thoughts, or is this just by circumstance or happenstance? Jeff, go ahead.
I think that whether it's a conscious decision or not, I think they're starting to realize that long-term championship reigns are the way to go. Yeah, remember in the Attitude Era and in the era just after that, the Ruthless Aggression, or what do you want to call that era of wrestling? Because it wasn't just WWE, but it was what it was. Crash TV was still very much in effect, and Bing hip hop, ping pong championships were still very much the case. Yeah, remember, TNA started in June of 2002. By November, there had been 3 NWA World Champions under the TNA banner already. You had Shamrock, you had Truth, and you had Jarrett. But before the end of that year, so within a 6-month period, you had 3 World Champions become champion. So I think this era is kind of not purposely trying to harken back to when Bruno was champion for a decade, or Hogan was champion for half a decade, or Randy was champion for a year, or Punk even 5 years ago was champion for a year. But I think that it's almost like, okay, well, if a guy reigns for a long time, that means he's a dominant champion and people get behind him. So maybe it's a subconscious thing where maybe, okay, if we book this guy to be champion for a long period of time, the fans will invest. There is no champion been more invested in since CM Punk, I think, than AJ Styles right now. People love him as WWE champion. Yes, is he booked properly 100% of the time? No, but the people love watching him wrestle. They love watching him be the WWE champion because he deserves it. He's our champion. He's fought so hard. He's in TNA for so long, and he finally worked his way to WWE, and good for him. And then there's Brock, who's been champion for a year and a half ago. Okay, next. We're over it. So it's really a crapshoot, I think, of who. But I think also, people got behind CM Punk because they invested in CM Punk before he was WWE champion. Right. CM Punk, he was their guy. AJ Styles is our guy. Brock Lesnar is the guy that Vince wants to be the champion. The whole promo WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar is very much Vince's boy. So I think it depends on the champion. I think AJ being champion for over 150 days now, whatever it's been since before Survivor Series last year, which is coming up on a year. If you can believe it, it's already August.
Yep, and we'll see what happens at SummerSlam if he can retain. But to answer kayfabe's question, I think it's been pretty consistent for a while. I mean, you mentioned CM Punk, Jeff. Punk had that long title reign. Rollins had a long title reign until he got injured. So we've had a lot of long-term champions. Yeah, he might have gone longer. We've had a lot of lengthy title reigns over the past several years. It was really the Attitude Era where we had all those constant title changes, courtesy of your boy, Virtue, Mr. Vince Russo.
Your boy.
Yeah, so
just props.
Yeah, I mean, Greg, any thoughts to add to that? I know you know all the title histories pretty well. You are the trivia champion.
Speaking of long reigning champions,
yeah,
how that went.
Right, there you go.
Champions, yes, the longest reigning. I don't have a problem with the long title runs as long as they're done correctly. Like we said, AJ Styles has been constantly defending the WWE Championship. That's what we want out of a champion. We want to see him fight to keep his title. Lesnar, in that same vein, has only had about, 5-6 defenses since he became Universal Champion last WrestleMania. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I think it would be different, and I compared this to his first reign from 2014 to 2015. Lesnar was just putting on great matches still. I mean, his match with Cena was entertaining, the one where he suplexed him 16 times. The triple threat at the 2015 Royal Rumble, fantastic match. And even the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania 31 until Seth cashed in, I enjoyed that match greatly. I thought it was a great WrestleMania main event. So that reign was much better because people, I think, were a little more invested in Brock as champion then. But since we saw that before and what he's doing now, it's very much different because match quality is kind of All he does is suplex, F5, whatever. It's like, seriously, You're not around for 3 months and you have an 8-minute match. Come on.
And there's been short title reigns there in the last couple of years. Now, yes, Goldberg's was circumstantial, but it was what, February to April? Well, look at the WWE title. Cena beat AJ, and then boom, Bray and Randy. So and if you go back and look, Aaron, there are a lot of short title reigns sprinkled in between those long runs.
Yeah.
So maybe, I guess kayfabe, maybe we won't see too many short ones. Maybe they finally realize, you know, if a champion's good enough to win the title, maybe they can hold on to it for a while. But
Well,
Greg, I didn't mean to cut you off. Anything else, Greg? Anything else?
I'm covered. I'm good.
Yeah.
Just think about how much people crapped on Bray Wyatt after he lost the title because, oh wow, one of the guys we like, Bray, finally won the championship, and he had that god awful WrestleMania presentation, and he lost it on top of it. It was like, oh, see, that was our chance. Bray, our boy, was champion, and he lost, and then Cena only champion for a month to tie the record for Flair. It's like, really? That's what we get to tie the record? 16 reigns, 2 weeks. Like, what the actual hell was that? That was awful.
Well, you figure Cena also, I mean, he had a couple 2-week title reigns. He also had that one at the 2010 Elimination Chamber that was,
I remember.
5 minutes? That's one of the 16 reigns. It's 5 minutes.
And that's what bothers me. The fact, and I maybe this is a topic for another show, Virtue, if you want to throw it in. I don't know if I threw it in there before on a topic on one of my shows, but the fact that John Cena's 16 reigns are held in such high regard as Ric Flair's, it's like, no.
You just brought up a great segue into my next topic, though, by saying that.
Very good. Very good. All right.
And I want to talk about one John Cena. So we know he's doing things outside of WWE, right? And is he still on Total Bellas? Is he still on that show?
Well, that season just ended.
Okay. That just ended. It's never going to Total Divas.
This is the question is simple. Does WWE miss John Cena full time? Now, John Cena obviously was, ruthless aggression era, and he became the guy in 2005. Correct?
Yep.
Pretty much. And then he was the front man for at least a decade. And I know some clashing opinions against me on Twitter compare Cena and Reigns quite a bit. So does WWE miss Cena full-time? And why do you think, was it Cena? Would he still be full-time if he could be? Or do you think Vince McMahon maybe kind of, how he likes to move on? He did it with Hogan when Cena lost to Brock at that SummerSlam in that fashion. You think that was Vince moving on from Cena as the guy right then and there? Everybody, go ahead. Should Cena be full-time, and would it benefit WWE today in 2018 in this crazy social media era? Aaron, I'll start with you.
Okay, well, I'm sure WWE would love to have John Cena around full-time because John Cena is a complete beast, and he can do the grind, and he can do all the appearances. But the fact is, everybody gets old. Cena's getting up there now. I think it's probably a combination of both sides. I think WWE realizes they have to start building towards the future at some point. And also from John Cena's perspective, he needs to tone it down a little bit, and just be able to preserve his body. And look at the shape he's in right now being off of television. I mean, that guy is he is cut, man. So he's in tremendous shape, and I'm sure he's enjoying the time off, not getting his body beat up every night. And he still has that 17th championship to chase, so there's still at least one more big John Cena run left in him, and we'll see what happens over the next year or two. Jeff, your thoughts on it?
I think you hit it right on the head, Virtue, because Aaron and I were there live for SummerSlam in 2014 when Lesnar suplexed him out of his boots 16 times and gave him 2 F5s. There were people in the audience, I won't point any fingers or anything, that were really emotional when that happened. I was in a complete, oh my God, we just witnessed the end of something here. Because Cena has not been the guy since then. I mean, yeah, we had the thing with Roman where they fought over who was the guy, and Roman came out on top, and that was fine, and that was kind of a passing the torch. But I honestly think that Lesnar has been, whether Vince meant to do it or not, Lesnar's been the face of the company for the last 4 years, and the fact that he's around so little is very indicative of how wrong a choice that was. Do I wish Reigns would have won in the first place at WrestleMania 31? Honestly, I do. It was a great moment for Seth. But I think had Reigns ascended the throne a year prior when he had that big Rumble showing in 2014 prior to Bryan getting his moment. I think if Reigns had the moment at SummerSlam instead of Lesnar, I think maybe it would be a whole different ball game as far as people hate on Reigns or not. Now, as far as Cena goes, I think that WWE would benefit from having Cena around, but Cena's not been a full-time guy since that loss to Lesnar. He's been kind of in and out and doing his thing and having the relationship with Nikki and appearing on TV shows and movies, and more power to him. I think WWE is better off. I would think they'd be better off trying to not have Cena around to bail them out when they're so stagnant. And unfortunately, it's not happening. Without Cena, they're suffering. So, do they need him back full time? I would say for the moment, yes.
I mean, they don't financially, but before Greg gives his thoughts, I just wanted to add real quick. Going back to earlier, the whole controversial tweet. People were talking about Roman Reigns and saying, you just got to give it time and whatnot. And my opinion on the whole Roman Reigns storyline is, if you go back to like 2014 when Undertaker's streak ended, the thing I talked about back then was, since Lesnar beat Undertaker, the person to beat Lesnar should be the next guy who's going to be the face of the company. So, Jeff, I agree with you. As much as we loved that Seth Rollins win at WrestleMania, ideally, that should have been Reigns' crowning moment as the new face of the company.
Because think about it,
His family thought so.
Because Lesnar's the one that toppled the great John Cena and knocked him off that perch that he had been standing on for a decade. Can you imagine if Lesnar's reign would have come to a crashing halt less than a year later on the biggest stage with the guy that was carrying on the Samoan dynasty for Rikishi and the Samoans and everybody else? If Roman Reigns had ascended the throne at WrestleMania, it would have been huge, and people would have gone, huh.
Yep. And Roman's kind of been on the chase. I mean, he's 3-time WWE champion, but has he really ever had a dominant long run?
And you know what? Because he hasn't beat Brock Lesnar.
Right, and they keep getting cold feet with it. They should have pulled the trigger on Reigns a long time ago. So that's how I feel about the whole Reigns-Lesnar storyline. I feel like they dragged it out too long, and it's weakened both guys, in my opinion. So
and if he doesn't win at SummerSlam, it's the end for both of them, period.
I mean, he has to win, right? But that's what we said at WrestleMania.
We got our predictions and preview video coming up. Greg wants to chime in on this.
I'm sorry. I just get worked up about this Roman Reigns stuff.
All right, Greg.
Well, Jeff, I agree with you on that statement that if Reigns does not win, if the show ends with Lesnar Universal Champion, no cash in, Reigns is done. Like
it's over. That's it.
A Money in the Bank cash in or Reigns winning is the only way you save face for Roman. Yep. Lesnar beats him straight up. There is no reason he should get another shot. Absolutely not.
Ever again. Ever.
Yeah, ever again. Really, he should go to like Sunday Night Heat or something.
No, he'd go to SmackDown and become the WWE champion. It would be like that.
No.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, back to the John Cena topic. I'm going to say that they really don't need Cena at all right now. And this, I'm going to tie it back to Roman a little bit, because when Cena was popular, when Cena was WWE champion, people were cheering him. People were behind John Cena. But remember, that was when Cena was doing his own promos and not being scripted. But once they started scripting Cena, and you could tell that they were scripting Cena, the crowd turned on him because he was becoming a quote-unquote corporate stooge. Their words, not mine. And it's like, we want the Cena that we were behind. We want the rapping Cena who was doing this, that, and the other thing. And it frustrates me that they ruin these pushes by forcing people to say stupid stuff. I'm surprised Reigns' career didn't end with the whole, what was it, the Tater Tots promo that he did against Sheamus?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like, come on. Like, these are grown men. Like, you're not going to see grown men talk like that, realistically. Like, have a sense of realism. Like, yes, it is professional wrestling. Yes, it is over dramatic, but have a little bit of realism. Have a little bit of sense. Don't be stupid for the sake of getting a cheap laugh. But as far as Cena goes, honestly, I don't think they need him full time. I don't even know if they need him part time right now. He carried his feud against the Undertaker for the most part. It was just him talking a bunch of trash, and then he got squashed in 2 minutes. It's like, okay, well, you just talked all this trash, and Undertaker just whooped your ass. So we're not going to listen to you anymore. And I don't think Cena's going to be at SummerSlam either, because, again, what's the point?
He has a sixth move.
Do we need to see Cena Undertaker again at SummerSlam? No, we really don't. So I don't think WWE needs Cena at all.
I mean, he has a new move.
I mean, there in the backpack stunner.
I'll agree.
I don't. Stunner.
I don't think they need him full time anymore. He can go dabble in. He can go dabble in Hollywood, but part time, I do. I think all these wrestlers like Jericho has been known to do, like Shawn kind of did his last few years, where he'd be off for the summer and then he'd come back and get in a feud. That's what I'd like to see with Cena. But when they bring him back, I'd like it to be meaningful. You know, he did have that match with Roman last year. The Undertaker thing turned into kind of a joke for him. But they do have the 16-time title wins for him, and that's 70. Could you imagine Roman being the champ and Cena getting it mixed up with him again? You know how many people would want to see Cena beat Roman to break the record then, you think?
Yep.
No, I mean, I don't know. I would. There's a lot of possibilities. Maybe Cena could work a program with Strowman. So part-time, yeah, but I'll say they don't need him full-time.
Fair enough.
So speaking of part-time to possibly retirement, I want to bring up Matt Hardy because, as you know, he's got a pretty weird injury that he's developed over the years with his spine and his hip fusing together. Or basically, it's going to be hard for him to bend in any way, right? He's still working, but what's everyone's thoughts? Like, how do you think Matt's going to go out of in-ring action? You know, wrestlers tend not to retire until they pass away, right? Some get an injury like Edge and where they can never wrestle again. But what do you think Matt's going to do? Do you think he'll leave WWE and do just appearances? Do you think he could be a mouthpiece? Like, could you imagine broken Matt Hardy on commentary part-time every once in a while? That would be interesting. Greg, I want to start with you. How do you think Matt Hardy will go out in ring? Or will it just kind of be under the radar?
I think it'll be under the radar. I don't expect like this grand gesture. Like, even though he's been on and off with WWE for 20 years now, I don't think it's going to be anything grand or majestic, like to the level of Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair. I really don't. And like, not to say that Matt Hardy doesn't deserve something like that, because he's contributed a lot to the business over the last 20 years, like I said. But I think Matt is perfectly okay with just walking off into the sunset and that being it. But now he has a tag team championship match on Raw with Bray Wyatt in that triple threat, which I don't know why that's not taking place at SummerSlam, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, just wait. It'll be on a kickoff, too. There'll be a rematch.
Well, I'm hoping. I said a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, that I'd like to see them do a tag team turmoil at SummerSlam, because you have Titus Worldwide, you have the Authors of Pain, you have those other 3 teams in that triple threat tag team match. You got 5. You know, it's very possible to do it. You can reunite American Alpha and have a 6th team. So there you go. It's a friggin' 7-hour show. You can fit a tag team turmoil in.
Stuff writes itself, brother.
Well, I mean, you would think it would, but we're talking about the Raw writing team here, Jeff.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't necessarily write itself. But I have always liked Matt Hardy. I've honestly always liked Matt Hardy better than Jeff Hardy anyway. But that's my personal opinion.
You know, me too.
I always thought he was a better technical wrestler, so I always leaned more towards Matt. And his character development over the years, from being one of the Hardy Boys to, you know, the new Brood with Gangrel, to being V1A, to going and being Big Money Matt in TNA, to being Broken, to being back with the Hardy Boys, to being Woken. I mean, he's changed his character. He's evolved so much over the 20 years that I don't want to say it's Chris Jericho-esque how much he's evolved, but you could see a little bit of comparison there, how he'd evolved his character to still stay relevant after all this time. So I give props to Matt Hardy. If he indeed retires soon, you know, he deserves like a long life of just comfort and happiness because he's entertained me for that long. So thank you, Matt, whenever you do retire. So that's all I got to say.
Very well
Jeff
said.
Meacham. Jeff Meacham. And let me, so Greg, you don't think like a retirement, and that doesn't have to be in WWE, but like Jeff versus Matt and Matt's final match, or Jeff and Matt teaming up? I'd like to see something like that, you know?
I mean, it'd be kind of cool if they did like the Broken Hardys as a tag team, because Jeff kind of has that right now on SmackDown. But if they did like a Broken Hardys, like even if they did like a compound match or something, like something completely over the top and ridiculous just to do one more time, I'd be fine with that.
Jeff, wouldn't it be good if Matt was ready to leave now because the injury was that bad? And I know he's on Raw and Jeff's on SmackDown, but if they could pull some strings and have Orton get to Matt and cripple him and end his career, would that not add heat to that Jeff? Free idea, WWE. Okay, Jeff.
Take it out of my mouth. Take it out of my mouth. Damn it. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I swear to God, it's what.
And it's furthering business.
Because Randy Orton wants to get to everybody that the WWE Universe really, really loves. And Jeff Hardy's at the top of that list. Everybody seems to love Jeff Hardy. I'm a Matt Hardy guy. I'm a Jeff Hardy guy, like you said, Greg. But I would love if Orton were to find a way to get to Matt Hardy and be the one to put him on the shelf for good, because that would add instant heat to the situation. It would add instant heat to the Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton thing. The only thing is, we're not getting Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton at SummerSlam. We're getting Jeff Hardy and Shinsuke Nakamura right now.
Unless they add
unless you do another triple threat match at SummerSlam, which, oh my God, we're gonna have like 20. It's gonna be the SummerSlam triple threat showdown. I'd love to see that. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think we're going to see something where maybe even Monday, when they have the triple threat tag, that Matt's going to be written off in some way and hopefully get the injury taken care of. If he doesn't, then they'll find a way to ride him Africa. Maybe they'll put him in like a reincarnation and he'll come back as, old school Matt Hardy, and he'll walk off into the sunset. I don't know. Or V1. There you go. Have V1. Come back one time. Yeah. But he definitely deserves a huge send-off. Not like Ric Flair or Shawn Michaels style, because he's not Ric Flair or Shawn Michaels, let's be honest. But he definitely deserves recognition because, like Greg said, he has proven, who would have thought that the Hardy Boys, more so Matt, but the Hardy Boys would be such easily adaptable and evolvable characters. Like, my goodness, they've proven they can do so many things in so many ways over the last 24 years or 20, whatever they've been in WWE and TNA. They're great, both of them. And I did not like the Hardys at all. I was an Edge and Christian guy or a Dudley's guy. But the Hardys were like my third team, always. They were never my top team. And I've been so impressed with both of them. I think if Matt were to have to retire from this, it'd be very unfortunate. But I think they'll give him some sort of kind of oddball send-off more than anything else.
Right. At least he got to come back to WWE. Both of them got to come back and finish their careers in WWE, which is a cool thing. At least he's able to come back and still work, and he's trying to rehab the injury right now, so we'll see how much more time he has. But Virtue, I love your idea, by the way, of having Randy Orton actually end his career in storyline. Here's a question for all you guys. Maybe, Greg, you could answer this one. When was the last time somebody's career actually ended in storyline, where somebody got taken out and they never came back? We always hear in promos guys say, I'm going to end your career, I'm going to finish you off. But nobody's career ever really ends from a match in a storyline, where they get hurt in the storyline and then they're never seen again. Has it ever happened? Because I can't even remember.
It did for about 6 years, unless you count his TNA run.
I mean, Rob Van Dam, well, yeah, kind of, yeah. I mean,
concussion, we talked about it on the show, Aaron, because he was I wrote him off with a concussion. That was so bad.
No, because later that year, he came back for Raw 15, so that really was
one time.
It was one time, and they came back for the 09 Rumble, so really.
Oh, okay.
I do have one, though. Sheamus, powerbombed Jamie Noble on the outside, when he first came to Raw, and ended his career, essentially, until he was part of
legitimately, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, there you go.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe Mick Foley and Triple H, the No Way Out, even though that was a match with the stipulation, the retirement.
That was built as a career ender, though.
Yeah,
and honestly, his match at WrestleMania the following month, he thought for sure it was his last match.
Yeah.
He was away for 4 years.
I just think it would be interesting if somebody actually did have an angle where they got hurt and that was the end of their career in the storyline, and then Randy Orton could say, I ended Matt Hardy's career. legitimately, because Matt Hardy never came back.
Another legend killed.
Yeah, I like it.
Which would add so much more heat to that Jeff and Randy feud.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
it would.
if Matt gets bad news, unfortunately, and he has to leave, maybe they'll do something like that, or just do one final, like Greg said, maybe one final Hardy compound match, and that way he doesn't really have to take any bumps. They could just do some fun thing as his send off. I think that would be really cool if they did that, actually. So we'll see what happens.
Interesting. All right. Well, this is a topic. I think it's enough time has passed to talk about this. We have Kurt Angle, the general manager of Monday Night Raw, and Paige, the general manager of SmackDown Live. How are they doing? And what grades would you give them, character-wise? We know that they can only do what they're told. But I'm really shocked with Kurt, because at this point of his career, I just think he's collecting a paycheck. I think old school Kurt would have fought back a lot and protected his character, but he's not in the ring, so he just wants to go home to his family, collect his check. Greg, I'm going to start with you. Grades on the general managers.
Well, here's the thing with Kurt Angle. His boss is Stephanie McMahon, and you can only get over on Stephanie McMahon at WrestleMania.
No.
It's the only way.
It's Stephanie McRan, as Kurt Angle would put it.
That's right.
But you get my point. I mean, Kurt basically has to act like a little wimp because Stephanie is in control of everything. And you also got Baron Corbin there on the side as the constable. Kurt, I give a solid B because, I like Kurt Angle. I've always liked Kurt Angle. Glad he's back with the company. I think he does a decent job at running Raw for what he's given. Paige, I'm actually going to give an A- because Paige has been a solid SmackDown general manager, much like Teddy Long was when he first started on SmackDown. And he was the longest-running general manager in SmackDown history for a good reason. He did very well in that role. Paige has done very well. I'm speaking like Kurt Angle now. Very well in her role as
Pittsburgh Pride, baby.
Compare her to Vicky Guerrero.
Vicky Guerrero did well also, but, there was just something about Teddy Long being in that role on SmackDown. I really enjoyed Paige as the SmackDown general manager, so I give her an A-. I think they're both doing well, again, for what they're given.
Jeff?
I think, first of all, both of them have a lot to follow because they've been great. You got Teddy Long on SmackDown, and, of course, Eric Bischoff on Monday Night Raw. And then you have the infamous John Laurinaitis doing both sides. Thank you.
But nobody is Mike Adamle.
Nobody is Mike Adamle. That's right, and we're all better for that. Now, but then again, you have Commissioner Regal, you had Commissioner Foley. You've got there's so many great authority figures over the years. I think I agree with Greg. A solid B+. I think for Kurt Angle. Go with that Pittsburgh Pride for Greg. Just a solid B+. He has to cater to Stephanie McMahon's whims. Whereas Paige, who I'm giving a solid A rather than A-, I think Shane's kind of whatever he's doing. Stepped away, let Paige do her thing. I happen to be at SmackDown in June after Paige had taken over, and she's got that crowd right here, brother. This is where the power lies, as Hulk will always say, and she's got them right here. Every time she walks out there, every time she talks to a talent backstage or talks to a talent in the ring, she's got that crowd right where she and where WWE wants them to be. She's doing a phenomenal job on AJ's phenomenal show, of course.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jeff. I agree with both of you. I think Paige is doing the better job of the two of them. I'd give her a solid B. Kurt, I mean, I don't like the way his character is being portrayed. That's one issue. And the other issue is he fumbles his lines a lot, and he comes off like a bumbling idiot instead of a general manager who is a badass, which I think would be a much more entertaining storyline if he actually had a backbone. But maybe we'll see him defy Constable Corbin and Stephanie at some point. But who knows? He comes off right now like a bumbling idiot. So I got to give him a C-. I think it's been disappointing. Virtue?
All right, I'm going to be closer to you on Kurt Angle, Aaron C. And again, it's not his fault. It's just the way they are just matchmakers. And I know it's general manager. I just don't like the fact that they have to. We all know they have to answer to the McMahons, right? But the fact that they have to technically have commissioners in place to be over them, call them on the phone, it's crazy. The Constable Corbin thing's interesting because obviously he was kind of gave him something.
Right.
So with Corbin, I might bump the Angle general manager to like a C plus B minus because that gives it to me a little bit of interesting of a dynamic. But Paige, sorry, I disagree with you all. I'm going to give her a C. Nothing against her. I just felt that with her injury, which sucks, that she would have been better served because we don't have them anymore, and I want them a manager of her stable and been whether she was a baby face or a heel and been out there, and that's how we got to see Paige every week. And she was a ringside manager tripping up people. I just don't like her being supposedly prim and proper with her look. She looks more like a ringside manager than a general manager. Again, nothing against her. It's just, I'm all about managers,
So am I. We all three of us in this room have done that extensively. So that's but it's the fact of the matter is, I think that a wrestling manager, ever since the role of Bobby Heenan, has to be. You have to wrestle like a manager, manage like a wrestler. That's how it always was with Bobby. It's how it's been with Paul to a certain extent when he was the advocate, when he was dangerously before he became the advocate, Paul Heyman. I think that if Paige were to be tripping people up, she'd have to get involved at some point. She literally can't do that anymore. So having her take a step back is, I think, the better way to go. But again, that's why we have the debate. That's why we have the great NoDQ debate every once in a while with you and Aaron and Stefan to have stuff like this brought up. So
yeah, and maybe I was just wanting to see Paige in more like a Stacy Keibler outfit with the glasses on.
There you go.
Maybe I would have bought, her being kind of like a goth look, being the prim and proper office type lady. Maybe that would have made me buy into it more. But we'll see. Yeah. But I'm C plus for both of them. So I'm not going to throw them under the bus. Totally.
So Virtue, if you give Paige a C or a C plus or whatever, what would you have given Daniel Bryan? Because I feel like Bryan was really phoning it in. And I think Paige is doing better than Bryan, at least.
Even Mick Foley. And again, it's more so what they're given to perform but they've all been C's. We really haven't had any great general managers this run. Yeah. It's all status quo.
I sense with Bryan just wanted to wrestle. He didn't want to do the GM role. I think with Paige, she's just happy to still be involved in some capacity rather than just be let go or whatever, she's able
you could tell the entire time Bryan's been back on TV since he got hurt in 2015. He's been like, okay, I'm here, yay me, I'm here, who cares? I want to do that.
I'm sure Paige is upset, but she comes off like she's embracing the role a little bit more than Bryan.
Paige seems more like
I'll give you that.
Paige seems more like a go with the flow chick than Bryan. Bryan is Aaron. We've known Bryan off and on. He is not a go with the flow guy. So and Paige very much so seems to be that way. So
what was weird about making Paige GM? It's like is a SmackDown. Is that the sympathetic role? If you're injured, that's what you get because Bryan had it previously, and then all of a sudden Paige gets it. I had that vibe. I had that.
Foley had it when he had to retire. So yeah.
A couple more topics, guys, but. That was a good chat there.
Well, we're already an hour here. Wow.
Yeah, well, these ones might fly by. Maybe not. So out of the current main roster talent, is there anybody that you guys see that, and they might not get pushed, but I guess I'm going to ask you, who do you think could get pushed to an upper mid-card, a potential main eventer that you wouldn't see coming? Now, I'm not talking like a Jinder Mahal. Maybe someone that's obviously somewhat credible right now. On the main roster, who can become a star that if WWE books him right, next thing you know, we got another headliner or close to headliner. Aaron, I'll start with you this time.
So are we talking about somebody who's not necessarily getting pushed right now? Somebody who's kind of like
anybody
under the radar?
On the main roster that's probably mid-card or lower or off TV?
I mean, the obvious guy for me would be Joe, but Joe could very well become a main event guy. I'm trying to think of somebody who is under the radar. I mean, I'll go with your guy Elias. I think if he turns babyface, that guy can definitely go places in WWE. And even though he was already pushed before, if he goes heel, Dean Ambrose is a guy I could see. If he goes heel, he could be a really big deal in WWE and have a major run, not just being, the mid-card guy behind Rollins and Reigns, but he could be at their level as a heel. So those would be my guys at the top of my list. But that's a tough question to answer.
And you can pick females too. You know what I mean? Just to expand it.
Oh yeah.
Greg?
Well, of course I say Becky. And
Yeah.
she's not on the main roster yet. But I going back to earlier, Jeff brought up the blondes in wrestling, but I have to say Candice LeRae I think is going to be a big deal in WWE. I think she's
one of my picks.
I think she's gonna. Well, he said main roster, so I wasn't gonna mention her.
Still.
I'm just trying to think of people.
I was gonna mention her anyway. I don't give a shit.
I think she's gonna be 2019. I think she's gonna be at Alexa Bliss, Charlotte level on the main roster.
Her and Johnny both will be right up there in the mix, both of them next year. No question about that. I'm picking those two.
But Vince will put them on separate shows.
Of course they will, but just to piss everybody off. That's right. And I say that when he comes back, if they do it right, American Alpha will be up there in the upper echelon again, being a tag team headliner because
good choice.
Because Jordan is just he got dealt a bad hand with this whole Kurt Angle father nonsense. It was so bad. Jordan and Gable were the best tag team in WWE at the time of the original brand extension. Period. And they got split up, and it was stupid. Stupid.
Yeah, we all agree on that, and I think they should just drop the angle and not even acknowledge it again. Don't even mention it.
I would too.
Bring back Jordan as Chad Gable's partner, their American Alpha again. No more mentioning of being Kurt Angle's son. Just don't have them interact on television. Just have Jordan go in a different direction with Chad Gable.
Dallas season 9 style. It never happened.
Never happened. Yeah. Greg?
All right, around the horn to Greg.
All right. Well, I have to go with my guy. I got to go with Baron Corbin because
I like it.
I'm sticking to my guns. I still think he has the potential to be a world champion. He had the money in the bank, lost it in god-awful fashion.
Oh.
Frustrated me to no end. But the Constable thing, I think, is a renewal for him. He's going to have another match with Finn Balor at SummerSlam. I think it'll be a good match. I'm sticking with my guns for Baron Corbin. As far as women's division goes, I'm going to pick one person from SmackDown and one person from NXT. My SmackDown pick, and I've said this before, Sonya Deville. I think she's got the tools to be women's champion. NXT, Bianca Belair. She's going to be something huge. I really like Bianca.
All right.
Nice.
I dig it.
My honorable mentions Drew McIntyre. The reason why I can't go with him fully because he had that initial run, so I don't know, why didn't Vince? Was he too young? Was he too green? Why did he leave the company and Vince brought him back? But I see potential star in Drew still.
Yeah, I remember he got hurt really bad in the public eye by having his wife beat him up. That was really bad for him and for the company. So
and Vince is a man's man, and he
exactly.
But I'm gonna go with these are a pair, so this kind of covers female and male. I'm gonna go with Almas and Zelina Vega. They are. I see big superstars in them. I don't know what. Maybe it's her. I like that. And now she's wrestling, and he comes out as her manager. I like that. I want to see them. I want to see them push to the moon. So that's who I'm going to go with. Any thoughts on them?
I wish we got more out of Gargano versus Almas with Candice and Zelina thrown in the mix as wrestlers too. I wish we got more out of the NXT.
Maybe it'll be revisited at some point.
Well, yeah, if you don't split up Johnny and
Candice, exactly.
But yeah, we'll see a year from now. We'll see if any of our choices got somewhat pushed. Remember, it doesn't have to go to the main event, but close. Right?
I would love a year from now for Ciampa to be one of the top heels on either show because he's the top heel in the business right now. I think he's amazing.
We covered that on last week's NoDQ review. I think that's what I said on Ciampa.
I wasn't there. I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Main event time. So this is another one of these brain teasers. Now I think let's go back 5 to 7 years from now because if we went beyond that, we'd be here another 20, 30 minutes talking about this. What is your favorite feud, WWE, main roster, in recent memory, the last 5 to 7 years? Now, I wish I could say longer than that because I would have immediately picked Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels. But I'm going to go last because I'm still debating on which one I want to pick. So who should I start with? Jeff Meacham.
Last 5 years, so we're going back to SummerSlam 2013.
I have my pick.
If it's slightly beyond that too, that's fine. 5 to 7. Yeah.
Okay, since it's main roster, I will say Daniel Bryan versus the Authority. Ooh. I think that captivated the entire audience. Everybody that was watching WWE at the time got behind Daniel Bryan, got behind their Indy darling, got behind the guy that was bucking the Authority, got behind the guy the Authority completely vinced over at SummerSlam. And Aaron was in the audience. I was next door down the street, whatever you want to call it, at the restaurant, waiting for it to happen and watching that horrible cash-in for us Bryan fans. Like, no! And having Bryan have to fight and fight and fight and fight and then join the Wyatt family and then break apart and then fight and fight. It was such a great storytelling from SummerSlam through WrestleMania 30. Just great, dynamic storytelling. Probably the best they've done post-Punk's pipe bomb.
Yep. Nice. Okay.
Strong
Greg.
pick, Jeff.
I'm going to go with one that might not be obvious, but this feud was so great that it spanned 2 years. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. Ooh. That was a good feud from the word go. From the minute that Seth turned on the Shield, to the matches that they had, to Seth always seeming to overcome Dean Ambrose, to the moment Dean Ambrose cashed in Money in the Bank on Seth Rollins. It was such a perfect ending to that feud. I just enjoyed the entire thing. And Ambrose and Rollins had fantastic matches against each other. Yeah. I loved every match.
That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Absolutely not. Aaron Rift.
All right, well, I'm going to have to go with Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. No, I'm kidding.
See, I was going to do that and then say I was kidding. I
stole your routine. Sorry about that.
Right, that's okay.
Can't go last on this show, brother.
Aaron Rift versus Twitter.
Great minds think
yes,
alike.
That is the feud of the year. That might win the NoDQ.com year-end award. All right, but you guys had great picks, and those are definitely at the top for me. Even though I was disappointed with the WrestleMania match, I have to say Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho had a great feud in terms of the storyline build-up, all the way leading up to the Festival of Friendship. One of my favorite angles of the past 5 years. I mean, in my opinion, one of the best Raw angles since CM Punk left. I mean, that to me has been one of the best ones, and I still remember it. Here we are a year and a half later, and I still remember it very vividly. So, Owens and Jericho, great story with those guys, very entertaining stuff, and one of the rare occasions where we saw a guy naturally get heel heat, and it was even more impressive because Kevin Owens gets cheered so often by the fans, and when he turned against Jericho, he actually got some legitimate heel heat. And I was there at Raw the next week. He cut the promo in the middle of the ring, sitting in the chair, and he was getting a lot of boos. So I think it was a very effective storyline in terms of having a solid good guy emerge in Chris Jericho and the solid bad guy emerge in Kevin Owens. So, Virtue, go ahead.
All right, so this is the feud. It happened last year, and it's really the feud that set me off on my stance on this guy, because a lot of people that might listen to me pro Roman Reigns doesn't realize when the Shield broke up, I was all about Dean Ambrose. He was my favorite. Actually, when they debuted, it was Dean Ambrose. I always thought he was the best guy in the Shield. I knew by the look, I knew where Roman was going as the guy, and they did it. But I was a late adopter to Roman. I didn't always like Roman for all 4 of these WrestleManias. Last year, his feud with Braun Strowman, to me, it brought the best out in both of them. And we are this close and maybe getting it again. And who knows? We know Roman won't turn heel. Maybe Braun will turn heel. But against Roman, we don't know. The both shades of gray. We're this close to maybe getting that feud again. We'll see. It all depends on how Kevin Owens comes into play. Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, because I just felt last year like I was, for that feud, I was back in the Attitude Era, just a little bit. And then remember how we said we were never going to go back to the Attitude Era full time, but if we can just get the glimpses here and there, that's what I want. That's what that feud reminded me of. So,
real quick before we wrap this up, I'm just curious to see. I'm looking up the feud of the year from the past 5 years on NoDQ.com just to see what everyone else put. So
New Day Usos.
No, Roman's not winning.
Yeah, Usos and New Day won 2017. 2016 was John Cena versus AJ Styles. None of us mentioned
that was
that
a
one.
good one. Admittedly.
That was a good year-long arc almost.
Yeah. 2015 was Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. They did have a pretty good Hell in a Cell match.
Hell in a Cell match, but the SummerSlam match was just atrocious finish. So I didn't. I don't even.
What was second in 2017? Do you know, or do you only post the winner?
Yeah, I have the stats here. Roman
and
Strowman
Strowman
was a very close second.
Right.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, and Daniel Bryan versus The Authority won in 2014. So there you go, Jeff.
Yeah, and these are all personal preferences.
By the way, Aaron, third and runner-up was Okada Omega, no?
It was tied with Owens and Jericho.
See, people don't think about WWE main roster feuds, but Okada Omega, if you're a New Japan fan, that was the feud last year. So.
Yeah, and it actually, it was making enough of an impact that it got on the No DQ Awards, which is usually pretty much all
WWE-centric.
WWE.
Yeah, exactly.
Regarding this year, because it was only one match, Omega and Jericho, even though it was an only one-match feud, that build was fantastic. It drew more seats, more New Japan App World subscriptions, and who's the IWGP Heavyweight Champion and who's the Intercontinental Champion. Those two guys that no title was on the line at Wrestle Kingdom.
Right,
because
exactly.
New Japan, they were like, oh, these guys are winning titles.
Exactly.
Jinx.
Jericho is, in 2018, Jericho's still, top 5, maybe not top 10 in the world still to this day. He's amazing. Yes.
He's the GOAT.
That's all. That's all for this week. So,
hey, everybody.
Greg Cherry, what do you got to tell everybody?
Tune in to Wrestling Trivia Challenge. My next opponent will probably fall at my feet, like everybody else has. NoDQ.com/Greg, Twitter @PASensation, ProWrestlingTees.com, NoDQ.com/shirts. You can find my shirts. You can find the NoDQ shirts on there. Just search for them. You'll find them. And that's it for... Oh, also, my game show, Look at the Draw. I just uploaded a new episode for like the first time in 3 years. It's not wrestling related, but check it out. It's a good time.
Oh, you got to set up a poker game, by the way, Jeff. I have my buddy wants to come out and play too. Or sorry, Greg.
Sorry, Greg, not me.
Yeah, I'm not going out to California to play poker.
It's too bad we're not all closer.
Anyway.
I mean, that would be a lot of fun to do like a wrestling and poker video where we just play poker while talking about something in wrestling.
One day, Aaron, one day.
All together in the same room, we can do that.
One day, we will do it.
All right, Jeff Meacham.
NoDQ.com/Jeff for my official feed at Instagram.com/Jeff Meacham. You can find my crazy pictures from my various travels, including Disneyland, where I don't know if you can see him back there, a brand new Mickey Mouse statue. Aaron will love that especially because Aaron knows my Mickey Mouse obsession. So you can find me on social media, _Jeff Meacham, Twitter and Instagram, and of course, NoDQ.com/Jeff.
It was a pleasure to have you on this week, Jeff. Glad you can make it.
It's been a crazy
Special
month
guest.
for sure.
Jeff
Yeah, right. A special guest. Yeah, and starring Jeff Meacham as
as John Lennon said, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans.
Exactly. Good Lord.
So, Aaron, everybody knows your info, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to add, Greg. Wade was the person who actually got me into poker. The first poker game I ever played was at Wade's place back in 2007.
That's right, it was.
Weren't you there?
I think I was too. Yes.
Yeah. So Wade pretty much introduced us.
I've actually never gotten to speak to Wade in person or on video or anything like that. So I think that'd be cool. I'd like to do that.
For those of
I played at Greg's house once and lost about $40.
Oh, nice.
And I took it.
Hey, Greg will be happy to have you back.
That's right.
But anyways,
Greg, let me play poker. Trust me.
Yeah. Other than NoDQ.com, I guess I'll give a quick plug for Wade. Go to ringscoops.com and check out his stuff. Wade Needham, big, long-time contributor of the site. Of course, the original voice of NoDQ&AV. Jeff?
The only one of us to have an official belt for his website, too.
I got it. Well, I do have the little belts, courtesy of Bad
Oh,
Billy
but
J.
I mean a full-on, actual. He's got the ring scoops, but he's digging it, man.
Let's give a cheap plug for Billy too. Bad Billy J on Etsy.
Bad Billy J on Etsy, absolutely, man.
Hey, Aaron, didn't someone challenge you to a match? Because I see you're in your tank top there.
I
You're
saw
all
that.
ready. You're all ready to go.
I've been
man.
hanging and banging in the well, not the
Hanging and
gym,
banging, brother.
but I was out, doing some hiking today.
Doing
just
the hikes,
being prepared
brother.
because,
That's right.
this was totally unrelated to Twitter, but yeah, this guy challenged me for a match at SummerSlam.
If he moves to Survivor Series, I'll referee it. I got my referee shirt still. I'll referee it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that they're challenging Aaron because they know they can't beat me for my championship.
To my person out there who challenged me, I will do it, but it's got to be Survivor Series weekend for the NoDQ's 20-year anniversary. You got to give me some time here. SummerSlam, too short notice. So that's my official response to that.
Aaron's first and only official match. There you go. I love it. I dig it.
Yeah. So
all right. Well, yeah. I mean, Aaron, you're on Twitter at Aaron Rift at NoDQ DOTCOM, and then of course NoDQ.com.
Yeah,
right? Did I cover it all?
Yeah, and don't
Slash
forget
everything.
call in. Call in's the special 2-hour live stream I'm doing August 30th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So everybody check that out. Call in. 2 hours.
I'll be there.
I think I'm going to have to be calling in as well. Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. Facebook, NoDQ.com/Virtue with a small V. That's it. You know the rest. So for Greg Cherry, for Jeff Meacham, for Aaron Rift, I am Virtue. We'll see you next time.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
You ever wanted to come into a sports bar where the barkeeps know their game? Well, the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media has got a production just for you. Sit down and relax as the stat boy and his partner break down the statistics in all things sports. Whether it's football, basketball, motorsports, baseball, hockey, soccer, professional wrestling, mixed martial arts, boxing, and much, much more. All are welcome. Your barkeeps here keep you up to date and in the know of everything going on in sports, while also having a pleasant conversation about it all. Your host and owner of the bar, Stat Boy Mike. His partner in crime, Dory Lou. And a host of other guests coming in. The food's hot, the seats are warm, the drinks are ice cold, and the sports talk is plentiful. Casa D18 Studios presents Stat Boy Sports Bar. Take a bar stool and enjoy the show. Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from A Simple Man's Brand.
"2023, we're back, bitches! The ATW crew is back once again with you to discuss all things wrestling. Happy New Year, welcome to 2023. What a hell of a kickoff it has certainly been, and a whole lot more to come indeed. Here we are, January 6th. We've had Wrestle Kingdom, we had New Year's Dash, and then we had basically the story that has about caused the internet wrestling community to crash. And so we are back here, what we thought was going to be an AW Illusion at a much more expedited time to discuss literally all
Yes, and it's partially my fault for advocating for this return, mostly because I had to say this. Today, we're going to talk about a piece of shit.
Well, let me talk to you on behalf of the crew. Welcome once again to this platform called the ATW View. Impromptu. I am the Simple Man. My name is Noah Foster. With me, of course, is the All Elite Brother for life with me, the KING King A-Train, Anthony, and of course, the bearer of all things news, bringing himself out of the Wrestleverse for tonight. By the way, great coverage, by the way, on the Kyrie and the Tam Nakano match with Mercedes Moné appearance. And we'll get more into that. I'm, of course, talking about representing New Entertainment, Eric Brown. And, of course, shout out to the entire ATW family, including that limited to Kid Bennett, Preacher Man, Casey Flynn, our enforcer Alex that was there live at Wrestle Kingdom and New Year's Dash, our queen that continues her uprising in the wrestling industry, Megan Chiba. Congratulations. Enough about continuous success to you, my friend. We look forward to having you back on this platform soon. Cindy G, of course, Sienna Chanel, starting her own Twitch community most recently. Party Man JD, and I'm not talking about JDMY from New York. Okay, get your facts straight. Casey Troop, James Hebert, everybody in the entire ATW family.
You gotta wonder how James is feeling hearing this, probably.
Well, last I heard, he's not feeling well, but that's more of a health point because, again, during our Wrestle Kingdom watch on the Championship Multiverse Media, he was working in the green room and his voice still wasn't back too. He was under the weather, flu, sinuses, that type of stuff. He still feels like kind of a bit like crap, but me and him will be back later on the Championship Multiverse Media, which is why we're on a time constraint for the time being, to coverage both AEW Rampage and Battle Belts 5, which are back-to-back live. As we record this, 8:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Enough of the intros, enough of the settlements. We got a lot to discuss, but it's only been 6 days. Let's get right into it. So usually I like to go in chronological order, but I feel like right now the biggest thing that happened in 2023 should be the opener. So with that being said, I now turn over the platform to the bearer of all things news, Eric Brown. So Eric, you expedited this episode tonight and this discussion for a very huge reason. So go ahead, break it down and give us your initial thoughts and then turn over however you want.
Wall Street Journal published a story piece saying that Vince McMahon was plotting to usurp the throne again and once again reclaim his place at the mountaintop of WWE and boldly go ahead and act like he's Boba Fett and then Napoleon Bonaparte, thinking he can just and he could just come back in and resume business as usual. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Less than 24 hours later, it happened, and he has now usurped the throne and has reclaimed his status as the board chairman. Board status.
Okay. Anthony, initial thoughts with the fact that the Mad King, and I'm not talking about Eddie Kingston, is back on his throne. What does this mean for the future of the creative direction of WWE and more particularly the position of Triple H?
Let me start on the creative side first. I was going to save this, like we talked about, for the ATW View during Revolution Week, but our inquiry decided to bring the ATW View back on a time.
And plus, the news would have probably shifted and changed until March. So.
We're hitting it as soon as we do it. And stay tuned, folks, for further coverage of this on Open Mic Night, where I'm sure me, James Hebert, Jeff Meacham, this movie star, Mikey T, along with others, Big J, who's always happy to be here.
I'm pretty sure James is going to curse. I'm pretty sure James is going to curse. And he's going to say that everyone in that company has no balls.
Yep. You made him sound nice just in that little retort. I feel like he's going to take it up to 11. And he recently has been in better spirits. But sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead, Anthony.
Creative. Where do I start?
Well,
Y'all
I can
do
help you with that.
Before I let you help, because I know you have a lot. Here's what I'm gonna start with this. Has the WWE product gotten a little bit better underneath the Triple H regime? Yes, it has to some point. The pay-per-views have become a little bit better than underneath the Vince McMahon era. But come on, people. Y'all do realize that this man has the majority shareholder of this company. This is his baby. You don't think for one simple second that he is suggesting the fact and watching all of this from his house thinking, oh, I had Austin Theory hold the Money in the Bank briefcase, and now Triple H, my son-in-law, has got him a United States Championship instead of going after the WWE title. That's what my original plan was probably going to be.
Austin Theory usurps Roman Reigns.
What is Johnny? Who is this NXT Rudy Poo? Who is this Johnny Gargano? Who is this Dexter Loomis?
It's too small, damn it.
You brought Hit Row back. But wait a minute. Where's Swerve? Oh, he's in that other company. That's the reason why I had him fired. You don't think that this man's going to walk backstage in gorilla position to think he's seen all of this Triple H NXT talent he brought back along with Dakota Kai, Io Shirai, and he brought Bayley back out of the injured reserve list. And you don't think he's going to look at him and say, wait a minute. Where did you go? Who are you people?
Oh, no. You want to know the biggest beef he's going to do?
Oh, boy.
Well, besides smack Baron Corbin back in the head again.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So Corbin, he came out and admitted that, that if he wasn't my boss, I would have struck back. And now he just publicly admitted that. And now Vince is back and is like, awkward. But you want to know who's going to suffer from this probably once Vince inevitably takes back his power?
Who do you think is going to suffer the worst?
The guy who kept telling Vince, okay, your ideas are the S word, your ideas are shit, and I think you're shit. And he's going to respond, well, Wyatt, you're fat.
Bray Wyatt.
And here's what I saw on Twitter and on Instagram.
When you guys are on social media much more than me. That's why I'm letting you all guide the conversation.
Yeah.
So
but I got more. Apparently, this is all part of Vince's. Oh, there's some more details I found out. And when I heard this, I was like, okay, I give it 3 months. I give it a month before he's back in CEO and creative positions because of what he recently did that got the approval of the Security and Exchange Commission. You want to know what I found out? I had to get clarification from Just Alex. You know, Delexman he once was called.
Yes.
In his video, he read the documents. Vince McMahon has now elected himself as the sole proprietor to basically say yes or no to any TV or media deals. So if someone else on the board says, we need to take this deal, Vince could say no. And they'll say, okay, Vince, what do you want for us to get this deal?
So what you're telling me is voting power means zero. WWE's back under a dictatorship. Vince has final decision.
Yeah, basically what they have to do, what the board would basically have to do to get the deal approved is if like, Vince, what do you want for us to get you say yes? And he's like, wow, I can think of 2 things I want, damn it.
And who knows?
And here's the other thing, and here's the bad part. The USA Network comes up this year. Fox is next year.
Yep.
And we've already discussed over Might Night for those that watch the platform over there, how at one point I believe Fox is literally getting like half their actual worth in the contract as far as revenue stream goes. So it's not looking great. But he still might find a way to either stay under that umbrella or sell it for something.
Oh, he's actually said this. Apparently, Vince wants to be the big thing. This is what one of the lines in the Wall Street Journal piece said. He has communicated to the board that unless he has direct involvement as executive chairman from the onset of a strategic review, he won't support or approve any media right deal or sale.
And once I read that line, I was like, so they pretty much that Poison video, that Poison promo from 02, when he was bringing in the NWO, has rung true, and it sounds even more true. Y'all know what I'm talking about when he talking about, I'm going to inject a lethal dose of poison.
Yep.
And here's the thing. I had to ask my residential legal attorney, a.k.a. Clint 4000 on Twitter. I've tagged him in some of this stuff. He reveals that Vince can legally do this, but the shareholders could file a lawsuit against him. So basically, Vince has opened up a door for the power struggle of 2023.
So either Vince gets his way or Vince faces multiple lawsuits.
Correct. And I'm pretty sure Vince is going to think he can win it all since he just got out of a sexual harassment thing.
Well, this is, when anything you put against Vince McMahon,
it's not
the steroid trial, and then this. It's like anything you put in front of this man, he just basically like roadblock, like bulldozes it. I don't even know how.
All I know is
from his buddy. You want to know the thing that makes me more baffled? He did this usurpation on the 2-year anniversary of what Trump tried to do. And I'm not going to say anything.
January 6th. Yep.
But yeah, this Islamic history is better off not recapped.
Yeah. So I had to look. I looked that thing up, and then I found out that Vince wants to sell the company essentially, and this came out about an hour ago after I talked to you, Noah and King. Guess who threw their hat in to say, I hear you might be plotting to sell. Well,
Disney?
Nope. I'd rather have it been Disney. Here's the best way to
Saudi
describe
Arabia?
it. We're going to need a lot more blood segments.
I just said it. Saudi Arabia.
Country redacted. The Prince.
Saudi Arabia wants from, we have a 10-year, 20-year deal to, we want complete ownership.
Oh my God.
Oh my Lord. No. Saudi Arabia owning the WWE. That's the definition of a global takeover. Imagine having all that trading power with all the intellectual property that the WWE owns and its constituent partners in tow.
Also, if you know who gets reelected, you do realize he's probably in their pocket too.
I don't know who's going to run for the primary this year. I mean, isn't Joe Biden's like term up this year? I figure something like that.
No, next year.
Okay, that's right.
Next year.
Although I have read stuff that people are like, "Oh, we might impeach this guy." When was the last time I heard that? Because politics is never correct. Politically incorrect. That's America. God help us.
And I posted an Ackman clip that says, here in America, we strongly believe that if you have any problems, you should throw enough money at it to watch it all disappear.
It's like everything's solved with a big giant $sign and a fat wallet. Not the case of everything else that causes problems. I mean, we just talked about it. Catch-22. Either Vince gets his way or Vince has literally set himself in a position where he could literally give shareholders the power to try and sue the company. It could be a financial catastrophe.
Here's the thing. Vince either wins and he gets a lot of money out of this, or Vince loses and he still destroys the company.
But that
either way, it's a lose-lose situation.
I'm about to say, I mean,
for Vince, it's I win ultimately in the end because either Triple H and Stephanie don't run their thing, or I take over everything back.
Well, that's
which means Triple H's head of creative is basically going to go right back to Vince, and
I think
pretty
much
give
it a month or two before when Vince starts to use his, I have my 80% voting power. I could just swing that around and give my whole, if you don't give me this, then I'll just block any TV deals you want.
So this is probably going to affect the entire morale of the WWE ecosystem that's been the brightest light in the last 20 years.
Sean Ross talked about that, and other sources were talking about it. They did not know. They only found out when we found out yesterday.
Knew it.
And here's the thing. I
had a gut feeling that was going to go down like
it was announced that Vince was back on the board, there was already reports that some top stars were like, okay, I need to get out of here.
Okay, we heard that in 2020, but some of them stayed.
Yeah, but
but that was when Vince was on the verge of leaving. Now Vince is back, and they're like, okay, we need to get out of here now. We've tasted the freedom of a WWE without Vince. We can't go back, man.
Can I imagine how many people right now are like, I like working under Triple H more. I don't want to go back to the Dark Ages. Not that I can speak for that whole locker room. I'm just saying, but still, you could clearly tell the difference in the product.
And if Vince does come back with the recent returns like Bronson Reed, and oh my God, Bronson gonna end up looking like a fool.
He's probably gonna get buried immediately.
From the man that beat Okada in the G1 to becoming Mrs. Wacky into now.
Like you had New Japan ready to grasp your power, and you went back to be the Mrs. Wacky.
I was expecting Jonah to come back after Okada when Okada inevitably, we'll talk about that in a little bit, won the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom. I was expecting that to be revisited. Before I learned Bronson Reed was back in the WWE and
money will throw at you and
Well, it's
just
like
ask Carl Anderson.
WWE, and maybe I'm actually wrong on this due to Mandy Rose. WWE is your biggest opportunity for a paycheck and maybe a role in Hollywood if you somehow cannot find your way to work through Vince's vision for the long haul. It surprises me that the likes of AJ Styles, for example, has been able to do that because he's an incredible worker.
Well, now he's injured, so he's going to.
Now he's injured along, and so is Seth Rollins.
What?
Yeah, Seth Rollins is hurt. I keep hearing conflicting reports on what exactly he's hurt about. He's hurt either his ankle, and some other source kept saying he might have a torn. Well, let's just say he's not going to have kids probably after this.
No, it ain't that. It has something to do with his
God,
ankle.
It's not that.
It's his ankle. So because he legit threw up the X the first time.
Well, I heard that, but I kept hearing two conflicting reports.
It ain't about what you just said about the second one. It's about the first one.
But
guess who
2016 all over again. Got it.
Yeah. Yep. Guess who decided to comment indirectly about Vince?
Well, again, I'm not on social media, so this should be interesting.
Everyone at work is being so nice to me these past 24 hours. I wonder why. The related holiday spirit. See you tonight on TNT for 2 hours of AEW on TV.
Tony,
listen.
Stop, man. Stop feeding the machine. Focus on your own company.
And guess what? To add on to that, Eric, Tranquilo Club posted a picture of Tony
him holding a cigar.
And Tony
said,
Tony
"How did you
commented
get a photo of me from last night?"
Exactly.
Tony Khan is just having fun.
And of course, the tribalists lost their ballistic minds, even though they were previously cheering that Vince was gone for a little bit.
Well, I'm not surprised that the tribalists lost their minds. I mean, who would have saw that coming? There's a reason why I'm not on social media. Remember, protect your mentality. I'm pretty sure everyone right now in and out of the WWE is losing their mentality, unless you're in AEW or Impact or somewhere else.
Here's the thing. I've been wanting to say this. Remember how people were going out and saying, "Yeah, Tony Khan's paying the Wall Street Journal and whatnot," because that made sense.
No.
Yeah, you want to know what I kept saying to myself?
What?
Why would Tony? Okay, in a hypothetical scenario that if Tony really was doing this, not really, what would Tony gain from that? He benefits more from Vince being in WWE than out of WWE because Vince makes
zero.
Hate him.
Yeah, the number you're looking for is zero.
Yes.
Because the man is basically running two companies. So why would he need to add on to this onto that?
About to say, we're waiting for the Ring of Honor soft launch to fully go through while the website's being updated.
But what I mean, like, Tony Khan benefited more having Vince in WWE than without it, because when Vince was in WWE, he just threw people out. He made people hate him. They made people be like, I don't want to work for you so long as you keep living here.
And that's why people went to Impact and AEW and NJPW. It was an open industry.
And then when Vince was gone, everyone wanted to go back to WWE and start teasing they might go back after their contracts are up. Now Vince is trying to get back into things, and it's like, well, I bet on the wrong horse.
And maybe I'm better off where I am at this point, even if I were to go to Shawn Michaels NXT.
Oh, don't worry about Shawn Michaels. I'm sure he's going to try and use perverted delights unless you use fan time.
Unless you're Matt Bloom and you want to snitch, but hey, I'm not the one in around that company to know about that. So
Hey! All I know, let me talk to you. All I know, Mandy Rose is a millionaire, and she doesn't have the WWE to thank for it.
exactly,
So
go make your money, girl.
Hey, you know what? When God gives you the gifts, you want to use them the way you wish. It's up to you. I'm not going to judge you. Who am I?
Also, right before the year had ended, we saw Charlotte return. Hooray, the robot.
I heard about that.
Oh, guess what?
Continue.
I found out. Guess who was there at the show?
At which show? The last SmackDown of last year?
The SmackDown where Charlotte won.
Yeah, it was last SmackDown of last year, right?
Yeah.
It was literally last week.
Yeah, guess who was there?
Who?
Andrade?
Woo! Woo!
Of course, Ric Flair.
Woo!
The man himself.
Here's the thing. He left before she returned because she never told him she was coming back.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that.
From her own father.
It's funny you mentioned that because you think about when Charlotte Flair took time off when kayfabe wise on TV. She pushed away her father. We talk about protect your mentality. Could it be that Ric Flair maybe causes Charlotte Flair, I don't know, a little bit of anxiety?
That, and I said this. I don't want to make an assumption, but could it be Charlotte didn't trust you to know she was coming back, all things considered, since you've broken several promises, came back, and then try to threaten you're going to come back again and waste all of our time and
nearly died during your so-called last match? That was a freaking car wreck.
Oh yeah, speaking of that, guess what? Ricky Steamboat was almost going to do that match. However, he then heard, Ric Flair has a pacemaker? Oh, F that. No, I'm not doing that.
And let's not forget right now, Triple H is the guy that right now is running the WWE with a pacemaker, as if he doesn't have enough stress to begin with.
Oh, I was, you gotta be wondering what Triple H is thinking, hearing that his father-in-law is back. I kept posting clips from House of the Dragon where Sir Christian Cole just wails on this guy and beats his head in, and I was like, yeah, that's probably what he's thinking.
I mean, again,
his creative job is on the line right now as we speak.
Pretty much at this point, everything Triple H just built is on the verge of being reset and erased. Yeah. And this just comes shortly after I heard from my friends, Money in the Bank, they're going to try, I guess, for the whole Big Five feel. This year, it's going to be in the O2 Arena in London.
Yep.
And Vince is going to be like, don't mess with America.
Probably. Give Austin Theory the briefcase again.
Oh, no. For once, I want LA Knight to get this, but you may be right.
I don't know if LA Knight is a Vince guy per se.
Yeah, you're right. No. This is
LA Knight's not a Vince guy. Remember, he was Maximum Male Waddles.
Max Dupree.
Oh God, I forgot about that act. That's right. That's still a thing too, except he's not part of that. I think I remember going to SmackDown, a gift from my friend, and the friggin' Maximum Male Models, thankfully on that was not part of that gift at the time. They were in main events. The pre-show before SmackDown.
Yeah.
Or not main event.
I do also have other news that came out when Vince's return was announced.
So yeah, because let's get back as we do impromptu here. We'll into whole different. Let's get back on the whole thing here. So of course, King, you talked a bit about the risk of the creative side of things, and Eric, you talked about the risk of the marketing side of things. Let's go ahead and talk about the morale side of things here. It's one thing to work for a job, for a paycheck, for your livelihood. It's another thing to have a morale where you don't regret going in, or you don't regret being part of this. We've heard multiple times how lately WWE, it feels more comfortable to work in. I don't know if you want to go back to that sort of stressful work environment.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, up until this point, the backstage morale has been, uplifting and great underneath the Triple H, creative side of things. But now, just like you talk about the word reset, everything, if he does come back in the gorilla position and is back as head of creative, you don't think Bruce Pritchard is waiting him on the wings and coming back to gorilla position as well? all that backstage morale will be reset, and then it's going to be basically a low, all-time low once again.
Yeah, expect more Brock Lesnar.
Expect more Brock Lesnar. And for what and now you do realize if he does come back, that Roman and Rock might not happen.
Yeah.
Roman and Rock was guaranteed to happen even with Vince. He's been trying to get that match for years.
Even so, anything could change, Eric. And if nothing else, Vince's fallback is Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let me call. Oh,
well, Brock. He has Cody now, so he could use him.
I mean, will he push the Cody narrative? I don't know. Again,
I don't know, because from what I've heard, when underneath the Vince era before Vince left, Cody was nowhere going to be in the WWE Championship picture until 2024.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But you want to know something else about Vince's return? When it was even suggested that Vince could try and come back, and the whole sale thing, and then when Vince did come back, guess what the stock investors did?
Oh, here we go. Now we're getting into business.
Invest. We're going up.
We're going up.
Gonna buy.
And I was like, when is it going to tank when Vince starts to abuse his power?
Well, that's when you panic and you start to sell. Buy low, sell high. In this case, buy low, sell low. I mean, people would say, oh, he's the guy, though, that made the stock market peak. He's also the guy that made the stock market crash.
Well, well, here's the thing. Apparently, if I can't be reading this correctly, apparently, if there could be a sale, there could not be a sale. And here's the other thing, WWE might go private.
Private? Wait.
Private?
How can you go private with all these public companies, and social, like, a partner? You can't go back to being private with how much you had invested outside the third-party marketing.
Exactly. This is what was mentioned.
Public domain.
Yeah, this is what was mentioned by the employees meeting that happened at 3:30 earlier today.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
When they were all freaking out and they didn't know what the hell was going on. This is what happened. They had Stephanie, Nick Khan, and Frank had to lead this meeting, and they said, look, nothing is changing. Hopefully not. For now, we're still operating on the day-to-day operations. Vince is just here he's going to try and sell probable capacity. And then this was noted that the WWE sale could be a huge positive, and that they would be looking for potential sale offers before negotiating the rights fees. Vince will get the final say. They said a sale might not happen, and the company could be taken private if there is a sale.
But if the sale doesn't happen, it becomes private.
It'll still be public.
No one said how.
I'm about to say, if the sale happens, the company stays public because it's no longer underneath this current business venture. It's under a new business venture. We've heard years and years about rumors of WWE trying to, be sold or sell. There's a reason why the network is sold to Peacock, and they made more money off of that, but the navigation still sucks.
Yeah. And here's the thing about that employee meeting. Emphasis on employees. No wrestlers were involved in that meeting. They were told, oh, all employees, hands on deck. Oh, except for you guys. I know you're all freaking out, but you'll know on the internet like the fans do.
Because the WWE superstars are independent contractors.
Well, like I said,
Andy
for now,
Rose's firing would beg to differ.
Yeah, again, does any more friggin' logic?
It's like unless you make more money than what the WWE is paying you, you're going to get the shaft, and that's exactly what happened to Mandy Rose.
Yeah, but you want to know something? What someone also pointed out, if the WWE managed to go private again.
What?
Okay, let me just give you an example. Randy Pitchford from Gearbox. He is a lying, narcissistic, crazy psychopath leading a gaming company. He runs it. He has the company's private, which means no outside force can tell him you gotta leave, man. So if Vince went and made WWE private, no one can stop him. He would basically be all public autocrat.
He would be permanent.
No investors would be able to tell him, you have to stop, man.
He could
do whatever he wants. He could run carte blanche.
He would be unstoppable. He would be unmovable. He literally would be there until he goes to dust.
Until the Grim Reaper comes and gets him.
And he'll try and fight him probably in the middle of the ring.
And he'll probably get the pinfall.
by hook or by crook. Spirit Squad not included. Okay. So, yeah, it sounds like a lot. Wow, I missed a lot today. So it sounds like I definitely, after, 2 days of incredible pro wrestling, now I
This
have
one
to worry
did come
about
out after the Vince announcement, Noah.
what?
Basically, Wrestling Observer Newsletter came out and said this. Take it for with a grain of salt from Dave. He basically said this. Hey, Tony, this is Phil. Do you think I can come back and we can do business with the Elite?
What?
As in CM Punk is pushing to come back to work
and do business. And I was
do business.
So let's see if I get this straight. This just happens to happen when Vince is plotting his usurpation throne to return. Oh, I'm pretty sure Punk is thinking, I'd rather work with effing children than work with a senile sex pest.
I mean, the best of both worlds, I guess. The devil you know versus the devil you don't. The devil you can handle, which in CM Punk's case, I'm going to be honest, like Jeff said, is himself because he needed permanent time away from the business. But if CM Punk is willing to work and that makes money for the company, I can see the positive in that. But I still have to figure out what the locker room would think and determine about that. It's one thing for the Elite to be willing to work with the man. It's another thing for the rest of the roster to be willing to work with the man after CM Punk basically, what's the word I'm looking for? Insulted. Yeah, it downgraded and insulted what everybody's been trying to do in AEW since day one.
Yeah, but there was an update on that. Chris Jericho reportedly said to the locker room, "Never ever again am I going to let Punk come back."
Well, considering,
but here's the thing, and here's the thing though, ain't that Tony's job, not Jericho's?
Again, King, we talked about it. One man might have the wallet, might be the booker, but I don't think one man alone can run the entire company. Yes, he might have final say, but when you think about, locker room judgment, again, Chris Jericho, he does have more of a higher position in authority and creative control. There's a reason why we not only got the Action Andretti 1, 2, 3 kid moment, Ricky Starks got to win on Dynamite.
Yeah, also, speaking of that Action Andretti thing, here's the thing. Chris Jericho reportedly had thought this idea to Tony Khan, like, look, I'm going to put this guy over 2 months from now. Yeah, this was planned 2 months ago when that match happened.
On Dark. Yeah, because Jericho was watching Action Andretti on Dark.
Jericho watches the people on Dark to see, okay, who has the potential to be a guy in this industry. Not maybe the guy in the company, but somebody that can move forward. If Chris Jericho's got an eye for you, it's hard to argue with that man when it comes to creative input for talent.
Yes.
He's 31 years, still in the game, constantly being inventing
I can't disagree with the man. I mean, he's a future Hall of Famer for a reason.
In any company
and
at this point.
We still have to remember he was the Ring of Honor champion, which is still weird to say.
I still can't believe we had the Ring of Jericho. And for what it was worth, it was highly entertaining and very competitive. Ishii and Claudio as the final two. That's a pretty cool summary.
And then the Ocho was,
and I'm pretty sure Brian was looking at Jericho and it's like, you stole my Ishii moment. I wanted the bloody chests.
Again, it is what it is. Well, now we know what's ahead for AEW. Before we move into a different tangent, is there anything else anybody wants to add on this whole Vince McMahon back and stronger than ever campaign, it seems?
Let's see. They're still saying Triple H will retain creative control. I'm still saying for now.
I'll say asterisks for now. Why I don't want to affirm that. It just feels like that. Again, folks, this is our subtle opinions. We know nothing. We don't work for the company. We don't have any stock. We are just fans with input. And it's constructive criticism, not some toxic, biased, self-righteous, propaganda. Anyway, continue, Eric.
Yeah, and let's see. This just happened right when Naomi was finally thinking, hey, WWE, I might come back. I'm thinking about it.
I gotta be honest. I'm surprised he was not with Mercedes Moné, which I know we'll talk about here in a little bit. Because
she was there, but she wasn't at the show. She wasn't participating.
Right. I was like, okay, why is she not part of the package of the CEO? Why is she not? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the assistant. Because it feels like to me, subtly going into this, Mercedes Moné, there might be more than just her going in New Japan Pro Wrestling Stardom. Just saying.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so guys, I just heard something from SmackDown. Okay, do you remember how they've been touting the match with Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, saying it's going to be a pitch black match, which I found out was a Mountain Dew flavor they're using as a sponsor because we have to have a triggered past moment of the zombie scandal?
I literally went shopping yesterday with my mother. I was like, oh, look, a new Mountain Dew, pitch black. And then I just realized,
yeah.
Continue.
Well, guess what? Guess what LA Knight decided to say that makes me be like, how would that work? He says, at the Royal Rumble, when the lights go down, Bray Wyatt's lights go out. Yeah. Wait. Do you mean to tell me the lights are literally going to be off? Then what's the point of the match?
Well, okay, hold on. Play devil's advocate. We've seen Boiler Room Brawls in near pitch darkness. We've seen darkness.
Yeah, but you still saw it.
Which is why I feel like under some capacity, this might literally be just black lights versus red lights. I mean, your definition of a dark match, the last dark match in WWE, pun intended, was NXT UK with Michael Satsuma and Alec Dawn, and it was more so just purple dark lighting and smoke around the ring. With Alec Dawn's character, though, it worked to a degree. With Bray Wyatt, I don't know. Especially with Fireflies about, just saying.
Oh, and also, one last thing about WWE. So Road Dogg went on his podcast because he's an employee, not an independent contractor. Therefore, it's completely different in Vince's third-party worldview.
Right.
Road Dogg decided to comment about the Bloodline storyline and fans' concerns about it. You know, like WWE giving all the belts to the Bloodline and the stranglehold they can't hold on WWE roster.
I mean, I'm just saying, for once, he's not wrong. Continue.
Oh, no. I'm just listing what fans were saying.
Okay. He didn't say this. Okay, because how many times
he wanted to give his thoughts on fans' complaints about the Bloodline storyline, like the NWO style attacks, the championship strangleholds, the Roman Reigns is basically God mode in this. Road Dogg decided to speak to the fans in a clear, concise manner.
Clear, concise manner. This should be good. Go for
You're
it.
all a bunch of haters. What's your position in WWE? I'm sure that is not going to help your image.
Well,
sad man.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. If he was simply a fan, he'd probably just call everybody marks of a different sort.
Oh, God. I just remembered something. I forgot to mention this to you guys.
What?
This is partially WWE related, and yet partially not.
Yeah.
Logan Paul is in trouble.
What? Wait, who?
Wait, what?
You know, Logan Paul, the guy who signed to WWE, who had a match with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, and for what it was worth, I'll give the man credit. He showed out and injured himself.
You might want to take all that credit back.
Why?
What?
He did a crypto scam again.
Oh.
Well.
Oh, and he's threatening legal action against the guy who exposed him. And guess what? He had this whole crypto game he was developing. The team he hired apparently were burning $50,000 a week, and he hasn't paid them anything for the past year.
Well, live by the sword, die by the sword, especially in the internet community when it comes to cryptocurrency, you bloody loon.
And I was just like, hey, Vince, WWE, do you want to keep supporting Logan Paul like Warner Bros. Discovery likes to keep supporting Ezra Miller despite their horrible actions?
And the next thing you know, you're talking about Elon Musk and the Emo Bird app.
Oh, don't worry. Elon Musk says he will resign when he finds someone crazy enough to take his job, which I'll take it. I mean, like, I could probably kick some tribalists out of this.
Do you have the wallet?
Imagine Elon Musk bought WWE. After what he did with Twitter.
I mean, if we want to go into a sub channel and talk about fantasy booking, who is the worst buyer for WWE at this point besides Saudi Arabia?
Let's see. I could think Elon Musk, Trump, Kim Jong-un.
Oh God.
Oh my.
That's a bold take. All right. So bottom line, WWE's future from a business standpoint is certain because Vince McMahon will direct it. WWE's future standpoint from creative positive morale standpoint, uncertain because Vince can destroy it.
Yes.
In a matter of any time.
And I would like to remind you all, we're not even a week out of this year.
Which is
crazy. Rumble approaches. Which is already
ain't it like the timing of how he comes back before even WrestleMania season gets started?
The road to WrestleMania, he kept that main event in line. He still wants Roman Reigns versus The Rock, which has to be etched in stone. He's going to dictate it one way or another. Now he's going to dictate maybe everything else on that card. Keyword maybe, nothing official. Keyword maybe everything else on that card. A Triple H creatively directed WWE might literally have just been a short-term dream.
Yeah, and Sasha, aka Mercedes, was right to leave. So let's do this. WWE is currently in a capsized state, and everyone else is doing pretty much fine, especially New Japan after Wrestle Kingdom week. Segue.
So that's why now, thank you for that story, Eric. Folks, let us know your thoughts on WWE's future in the comments down below, whether Vince McMahon takes back full control. Let's go ahead and change tangents to the other beginning this year that definitely kicked things off in a huge way, but in a much more positive light. New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom 17. And for this, I'm going to let my Ollie cohort here lead this conversation. Anthony, it was Wrestle Kingdom 17, the first time we had a Wrestle Kingdom that felt normal since before 2020. 26,000 plus on hand, audibly heard as well, celebrating the man that founded the company in the first place, Antonio Inoki, with the return of a cleaner that gave us a dream match to remember, and so many more moments too, including one that you could bank is going to make a lot of money, particularly for one, Monet, particularly, and we already have a pay-per-view booked for February that's already helping the show sell out. But let's go ahead and focus primarily what happened on January 4th and move into the events that conspire to follow. So take it away, man. Your thoughts on what has been New Japan Pro Wrestling's 51st year beginning.
Man, I didn't get to watch the pre-show because, I wanted to catch some Z's before 2 a.m. Central. I wanted to catch some Z's before 2 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I did that.
All right.
But when 2 a.m. hit, oh my goodness. I was ready. I was pumped. I was energized, even though I had work in about 5 hours later. But knowing that it was a 4-hour show, my takeaway was, first of all, it's good to see Kenny back in a New Japan Pro Wrestling ring. He was greatly missed, and that Sephiroth Final Fantasy entrance blew me away, along with Will Ospreay bringing back Elevated, which I'm like, okay, so Kenny is bringing back Sephiroth, and Will Ospreay is bringing back Elevated, and I'm like, okay, handcuffs are off, and we're about to. I hope everybody is buckled up and ready to go for this match. And basically, the dream match lived up to the hype. As we will talk about New Year's Dash and a little bit later about Will Ospreay on that 6-man tag, which I think he was unhinged from a standpoint.
I think that word there, jeez.
And
he wasn't the only one either that night.
And everybody wants to talk about the watch. Even though New Japan World went up in subscribers, they went up in revenue because of Wrestle Kingdom and New Year's Dash, but everybody wants to talk about Mercedes' botch, and everybody wants to talk about the promo. I'm going to start with the botch. It's a botch, okay? Let it go, people. It happens in wrestling.
Every day it happens in wrestling. You kidding me?
And she was trying to do a gory bomb and transition into a DDT. That's exactly what she was trying to do. Heck, she even posted videos about it when she was training with Kalisto in Mexico. So get over it. 2, it's going to take some time for her to get adjusted. Basically, okay, I can't be forced to say this. I can't, I have freedom now with my promos and everything, because you can kind of tell, in which I kind of noticed it just a tad bit, that WWE stench in her promo.
Yep. Big time.
Like, and of course, Vince poisoned her. Well, Vince and Bruce, I should say, poisoned her with the way how you should cut a promo for the last 7 to 8 years or so, in which I'm gonna let that slide on that part as well, because she was underneath that company for so many years that she's adjusted to that promo style. So
yeah,
you can honestly,
it's sort of like how people were flacking on Jim Ross and saying, why is he mentioning WWE in his AEW commentary? And it's like, dude, the guy's been working there for like over 20 years.
When the WWE literally becomes your life, not part of your life, but your life, it's hard to get away from it, let alone reset. There's a reason why Ruby Soho loves the fact that AEW, she can find herself, be herself, challenge herself. Anyway, continue.
And it's like I said, the WWE stage is there. What we go? We're going to give her time to adjust. I mean,
it's not going to happen overnight. Duh.
Exactly. And plus, while everybody was talking about the whole Vince news, Reese Graham, who used to cover the Dallas news, he reported on Twitter earlier today, as soon as before we went on the air, that while everybody is talking about the whole Vince news, Mercedes Moné has booked a flight this morning to return to the States. Gee, I wonder where she's going.
Well,
I'm sure Soraya's going to be happy about that. She's going to need it after what happened on Dynamite. What's going to happen next week eventually.
I think we know what's ahead for some of the women's division and AEW. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Continue the Wrestle Kingdom stuff, King.
Yeah, but Jay White and Kazuchika Okada, I gave props to them, because Luck had to be on their side to try and follow up Ospreay and Omega, because that was in the spot that they were in. Oh my God! Like, in the spot that they were in, it was basically impossible to try and top that, because Ospreay and Omega went to war. But according to Dave Meltzer, they got held back.
No, they held themselves back because they think we're going to make more matches. And I was like, wait. That was them restraint?
I'll say.
What happened when they were let loose?
Ospreay literally could have concussed himself to death.
And Omega could have been right back on the injured reserve list again.
Yes.
I'm wondering. I'm still wondering how his right eye is.
Ospreay endangering himself every week on every show on New Japan. It's more like an average Tuesday for him. Remember, 1 minute he's fighting Kota Ibushi. He nearly gets concussed. Then the next week he's fighting Marty Scurll and twists his neck in the middle of the ring.
And this guy also.
The next day.
And I just want to add, this guy that we're talking about, Will Ospreay, also came back from a life-threatening kidney disease.
Yes.
Yeah.
That could have ended his life.
It could have. And now Okada is back on top once again.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Okada being back on top. I was like, can we get someone new?
He's the company man. He's the company man, Eric. He's the front runner.
He is the face of New Japan for a reason.
And for the last decade.
Here's the problem I have with it. It's like, once you're being told you're going to carry the Olympic torch, it's like, what's left for you, man? You did everything in life now. You carried the Olympic torch.
He wants to continue.
Another run with the belt, win the G1. Can you give someone else that chance?
If that's what Okada believes he needs to do to elevate what he still believes is the best wrestling company on the planet, to elevate New Japan Pro Wrestling for the next 50, 100 years, then unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, but could he okay, I know what I'm about to say is sacrilege for Okada probably now, but how about this? How about you, I don't know, give us a new character act?
You mean like he did on his way to All In when
But
he
he
lost
lost
town in the
the
first
title
place?
when he lost the 2-year title. He had a character, and then when he got it back, he just went back to being Okada before he lost the belt, and it was like, I kind of miss the red hair going a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs Okada because his life was defined by the belt, and when he lost it, he just lost part of his identity and just went cuckoo.
You know, I kind of can understand that retrospective, Eric, when I think about this. Utami Hayashita, the former holder back at the end of 2021 of the World of Stardom Championship, when she lost it, she still continued her way through Stardom, being basically the ace of that company, despite the fact the Icon been there since day one, the two most top political people in that company's history, bar none. And still, Utami, she still carried herself like a champion without having a belt, and at times had fun. I still go back and rewatch when Tommy sung Tam Nakano's theme and mocked her as the cutest, and I'm not gonna lie, I think Utami was cuter than Tam Nakano. I know I just said that, right? People are gonna probably get on my case about that. Sorry, not sorry. But the fact she was able to just, be that free form, still though, to be herself in that royalty type display. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Okada show a little bit more flexibility in his character, not always having to be serious with a guy at the forefront. Again, Utami Hayashita, she held that title for a year.
Yeah, I recall watching a video saying, like, I'm a huge fan of Okada and saying this and that about Okada and all his accomplishments. But here's the best way someone described Okada. And when I heard this, I was like, yeah, that kind of describes what he is. He's a belt on legs. He's a golden belt on legs. It's like, go out, do matches, be awesome. Your personality? Oh, nah, you're just a golden ticket thing for matches. It's quality.
He's the guy that sells. He's the face of the company. He's the guy that sells, but he does feel a little bit one-dimensional.
Here's another thing I've been wondering. Two things, actually. One, can we have him compete for another title? I know he's been defined by the world title, but can we give another belt for him to fight in? I mean,
like what? The never open weight championship?
No. Jay White holding that was weird already. I don't want to be weirded like that.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
How about the U.S. title or hell, bring back the Intercontinental belt? That was the more prestigious looking belt.
Yes, I missed that white belt.
Still hurts me to this day. Coda, what were you thinking? But to go on your point, Eric, Casey Muto, Pro Wrestling Noah, GSC Heavyweight Champion.
Speaking of Muto, I'm glad you segued into that. This man was literally trying to do a moonsault, but Hiroshi stopped him.
Thank Christ.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why too. You want to walk still?
Yeah, basically. Oh god, I just had this thought. Imagine if Hiroshi Tanahashi was at Ric Flair's last match show and he was like, "Don't do it."
Ric Flair would have slapped the taste out of his mouth and still would have done it.
Yeah, probably.
Although I never seen Ric Flair do a moonsault, thankfully.
Nor a high flying type of arsenal. Thank God.
Actually, he has done a couple high flyings, when he won the Intercontinental title in 2006, I think, against Carlito.
It was 2008.
2008. Yeah, you're right.
No, right before he feuded with Triple H after he came back from Raw Homecoming.
Oh, yeah, that is right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Forgot about that.
Wasn't Ric Flair also in a tables, ladders, and chairs match with Edge?
Yes,
he was.
Yes, he was.
He was. We all saw how that worked out, right? Anyway.
Also, yeah, when I heard the whole, but beyond that, moving on. When I was trying to wonder, where does Jay White go from here?
Let's see. According to Fightful from yesterday, I mean, because we're going to segue here in the New Year's Dash. Jay White, of course, y'all heard Jay White made the stipulation of loser leaves New Japan Pro Wrestling.
But accordingly, leaves town. Let's be specific here, King. Loser leaves town. That just leaves Japan. You're still in New Japan. You just can't wrestle literally in the heart of it.
And according to Fightful, they wasn't looking about for Jay White because Jay White still has 2 years left in the contract in NJPW. They're instead interested in getting Hikuleo.
WWE is.
He is a big dude. I'm just not gonna. I'm gonna put it out there. He is a big dude.
6'9", but 6'9", but that tells me all this time that you try to put into Omos and have an MVP align himself with him, and then you're interested in getting Hikuleo.
They're gonna have all the giants. They're gonna have all the giants. Damn it, all the giants.
Well, the next thing I'm gonna hear is basically Hikuleo versus Oh, Jesus, no.
You just put it out there. You know what's gonna happen now. You just put it out there.
Well, I think even AEW is interested in him.
At least Satnam Singh is much more capable against Hikuleo than the other dude he was about to say.
Yeah. Also, I gotta mention this.
Go ahead.
I want to mention this. Jeff Jarrett's running AEW.
We were 10 seconds in of him becoming a tag team champion.
Yeah, I know. But here's the thing.
Shit.
At least he's redeeming himself from that Ric Flair's last match thing. But here's the thing. I'll only label Jeff Jarrett's in-ring run in AEW success if he feuds with Eddie Kingston and we get the biggest merch sale of Redeem These Slapnuts. That's the only way I'll declare Jeff Jarrett's in-ring career a success.
Well,
I want to see that promo program now. Damn it, Eric. I want to see that promo program now. That's the last.
That's the only way I will declare Jeff Jarrett's run in AEW in-ring wise a success. Here's the thing.
God.
Here's what I'm going to say. Jeff Jarrett might be offended by what I'm about to say. Jeff, Double J, you'll finally make dime.
Ouch.
You'll finally draw a dime with Eddie Kingston holding your hand.
He would chew you out. I'll tell you right now, you would have clipped this.
Yeah, he would.
He would chew your ass out.
But since I was talking about New Year's Dash, other than what you redeemed these slapnuts, I can't believe I kind of want to see that too now.
I mean, to be fair, there was AEW talk in the backstage comments concerning particularly one match we saw that I thought never in my wildest dreams I would see.
And never thought in my 2023 bingo card on New Year's Dash that two of the biggest, one of New Japan's, the biggest New Japan Pro Wrestling rivalry in its professional wrestling history would ever team up against Aaron Hanare and Jeff Cobb. That was not on my 2023 bingo card whatsoever. Oh. And they make it work like they're basically LeBron James and Michael Jordan in the same court.
Yes. A
Rainmaker V trigger combo.
I lost my shit. I'm not gonna lie. Cindy and I lost our shit. What the fuck? Okada and Omega tagging together. The ultimate rivalry. The greatest tag team I've ever seen in pro wrestling. When it comes to Steve
Here's the thing. Forbidden Door 2, they have to do this match. AEW acquires Kota Ibushi. New Japan's Okada fights for the custody of Kenny Omega.
Oh, Jesus.
Golden Lovers forever. That's all
because Kenny did post on Instagram with the picture of Okada saying, "Did we just become friends?"
Okay, there's a little bit of character humor in Okada. I mean, did they?
Okay, can we have that on TV and not on Instagram?
I don't know. The man fishes in his spare time, for Pete's sake. The last thing Okada says is, "I'm going to be 100% by the next tour. I'm banged up right now, and honestly, I'm not surprised you're still breathing straight after what Aaron Hanare and Jeff J. White did to you."
And we're going to see Omega and Cobb here pretty soon, and Shingo and Okada looks like it'll be the next matchup.
And Shingo once again, KOPW 2023 Provisional Champion, although Brito Khan, has put his name out there to challenge Shingo maybe for that title. And speaking of titles,
Jeff Cobb is saying he's going to see Kenny Omega in the U.S.
Exactly, and Kenny Omega says, "Come see me in AEW." So, Cow Palace, just saying. Just saying. Considering
Also, I remember the other thing I wanted to point out about Okada. How about we give Okada something new and challenging to do, like wrestle John Moxley in a hardcore wrestling match?
I feel like they're planting the seeds for John Moxley to finally face the Rainmaker, because they did talk about the last time Okada attacked with someone in AEW. How'd that work out? Not so friendly. Why John Moxley didn't attack the Rainmaker? He basically left that match because he was assaulting Minoru Suzuki. We also heard Zack Sabre Jr. say, up yours, John Moxley. I have a young boy of my own now, and he'll be better than what you did with the roughneck Shota Umino.
Which I'm glad you said about Suzuki, because after that Ren Narita, like that match within that, because Suzuki came out and made the save on Narita, and so did El Despy. But Despy and Suzuki fist bump because, of course, Suzuki goon always for life, even though they disbanded.
Don't remind me.
But they walked past Narita. Like, what was that about?
Well, Narita did leave the same entrance with them, and talking about titles, King, every title in New Japan Pro Wrestling right now has a story for their first opponents. Sounds like Ren Narita, Minoru Suzuki, and El Dorado are looking to finally take the 6-man Never Openweight Tag Team Championships from the House of Torture. And that was just our opener.
Why you and then you have, speaking about, former members of Suzuki Gun, do you have, let's see, that 6-man with TMDK, which I never watched, Zack Sabre Jr., TMDK with Shane and Mikey.
They go all the way back to Pro Wrestling Noah when Zack Sabre Jr. worked with those two, taking on New Japan Pro Wrestling at the time. So they have a long story history, which I find very surprising.
Of course,
that now Zack Sabre Jr. is the front man of TMDK, the Mighty Don't Kneel.
And NJPW World Television Champion, which, by the way, that title looks like a grandparent's television box. But I digress on that part.
Oh, come on, that title has class. It looks great. By the way, he and Ren Narita, what a freaking match!
What a 15-minute match that was. But just for guys, really, Taka? That's the new name of you, Taichi, Kanemaru, and
Doki.
What's the other one's name?
Doki.
And Doki. Just for guys?
It's Doki, King. They do the Doki.
Also, I wanted to mention this. I wanted to mention this.
Go ahead.
I miss Gino.
Why was Kairi and Tam Nanako fight only less than 6 minutes?
Oh, I forgot to talk about that. Oh my God.
Well,
I know we talked about Mercedes, but why was the Stardom match 6 minutes?
I posted on Twitter that morning. I said you put more retrospective on that versus the aftermath. That was longer than the match itself.
In fact, I think the entrances were longer.
Yeah, you might have been right, honestly. But for what it was worth, Tam Nakano, congratulations. You women made history. First singles match in Tokyo Dome for an IWGP Women's Championship. I really wish it went longer, but damn, Kairi has the most.
Oh, by the way, you want to know what they touted about this match? And this is the thing that really annoyed me, why it was so short. This is the first official women's match on Wrestle Kingdom since '94.
Correct.
Yep, they talked about it on commentary.
And I was like, so you're going to acknowledge that and then give them a time limit that makes AEW's matches look like they were masterpiece of long range.
And honestly, as far as AEW TV matches, you could count maybe on 1 to 2 hands actual masterpieces worth of matches. 2 of them happening super recently. 1 of them was only on TV.
Yeah.
Last year.
She didn't hate her.
Yeah, and that was still an awesome match, but
right, 20-minute strong style. And speaking of strong style, you talk about Zack Sabre Jr. Looks like strong style versus strong style. My boy Tomoyasu, he wants a piece of Zack Sabre Jr. and the
yes, he does.
Championship. Is he for champion?
Ishii.
Already?
He just won the belt.
Okay, but still, he should be a champion.
There is something I can mention about Minoru Suzuki though.
By the way, best hat in the business. Sorry, Julia Hart. Continue.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Apparently, WWE fans watched the show and watched Minoru Suzuki. Guess what they all did? And this is the shocking.
Oh, I gotta hear this. Go ahead.
What?
They said, wait, Minoru Suzuki is how old? Oh God, Ric Flair is lazy. Yeah,
Wow.
they praised
Actual
Minoru
compliment.
Suzuki and bashed Ric Flair.
Damn.
Actual compliment. Wow.
Yes.
I mean, to be fair, Minoru Suzuki, he's still working damn strong perfectly. Just saying.
Yeah.
And he has singles ambitions to go after the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. That's his ultimate goal. So, yeah, to wrap a bow on anything else, that you have any other retrospect you have as far as match highlights and title setups that came before I do the quick rundown of results and what's to come. What else do you have on your mind, man?
Oh, let's see. I pretty much don't got nothing, really. It was a good good New Japan on their end.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, one more thing before we close on this New Japan talk about.
Go ahead.
Naito and Shota. Give me that match, please.
Shota Umino's got some balls to go after the ungovernable one, man. That's all I gotta say. I'm liking this dynamic of this program, the confidence in this young man since coming back from excursion and his work done in Rev Pro. Unmatched. And apparently Tanahashi has seen that. And Tanahashi, again, you want to talk about guys that reinvent. How about the guy that never quits? Literally now, his Titantron says Iron Will. How fitting. So we'll see what that means for Tanahashi going forward. But yeah, Wrestle Kingdom 17, honestly, I'm just going to ask you both this right now. Was Wrestle Kingdom 17 stronger than Wrestle Kingdom 12?
Close.
Maybe.
Close.
In some areas.
All right. So, yeah, Wrestle Kingdom 17 had to kick off. They introduced us to a young lion. Great amateur wrestling showcase for 3 minutes. Bolton Olak, someone to watch out for. Taking on Oiwa. We had the commemorative 6-man Antonio Inoki match with 3 generations of Inoki-inspired individuals. Minoru Suzuki, Tiger Mask, Tetsumi Fujinami, of course, taking on Satoshi Kojima, Yuji Nagata, and Togi Makabe. And, of course, we had the KOPW Rambo, where the final 4 was Great-Dokkan, Shingo Takagi, Sho, and freaking Phantom of Existence, Toriano.
Yeah.
Then we go into the main card. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions did not change hands. Yolanda Rush came up short. Great experience by TJP came into play. TJP, Francisco Akira retained. The second match, the IWGP Women's Championship match, maybe around 5 to 6 minutes. But again, find me a person with a tougher spinning back fist, more lethal spinning back fist right now than Kyrie. Jesus. Tem Nakano stopped in time before she fell for the second time. Insane elbow, Kyrie Tina against Tem Nakano, game effort. And then Mercedes Moné debuted, shocked the world in a way. And that definitely helps spike subscribers and apparently helps sell out practically Bound the Valley, as we now know, Bound the Valley next month on pay-per-view that our friend Steam DG is going to. Mercedes Moné will challenge Kyrie for the IWGP Women's Championship.
Also, I have an update from what WWE's reaction was to Mercedes Moné's debut.
I was curious if there was anything regarding that.
WWE reportedly thinks this about Sasha, about her going to New Japan. Just let her go there. She'll get out of her system, and by the end of it, she'll be back with us. You did not gaslight everything.
That ain't happening. That's not happening.
You once were ours. You will be ours again. Damn it.
Yeah, they definitely think that they for some reason think that, Sasha, she's just emotional. She'll get over it. She'll just do her thing in Japan.
Right.
She'll just stick around here.
But didn't they move her quietly to the alumni section yesterday?
Yeah, some people are in denial about that.
Saying it so.
Yeah.
Might I add, Bailey was there with her in support. Vince would have never let that happen.
Along with Trinity.
And you don't think Bailey and Naomi, while watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, is like thinking about when their contracts are up, possibly in the near future, to probably leverage to try and go and leave the WWE for quite some time?
That reminds me about Bailey. I gotta bring this up for all the people who are obsessed for her in the provocative way. Apparently, she has a permanent injury of ACL that prevents her from wearing shorts, so no one will ever see her.
Oh, that's
apparently. Yeah, she revealed that in a video a while back, and I had just found out about it, and now people are like, Vince, how dare you injure a girl? Now we'll never see her in shorts.
I'm just glad
Because
Bailey's able to
perverts.
walk and actually wrestle. If that's the case, jeez. Again, the rest of the industry, but
That's
again,
why she has to wear long tights or leather tights on her.
oh, fair enough. Well, at least she's
Also,
back
I
and able
gotta
to go.
ask, what was that New Japan Pro Wrestling match they said was the first women's match in the Tokyo Dome? What was it?
Was it? Oh, good lord! I think that was before my time. It was back in 1990, right? That was before I was born.
1994 to be exact.
1994. I was only 2 years old at the time. I would have to look that up. I don't know off the top
I was
of my
just
head.
born. I was just born in '94. So I wouldn't know.
I literally.
felt like I had.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I don't think it was over a championship either. I don't know, honestly. I have to look that up. I was literally born just shortly after what some people call the best Royal Rumble ever, 1992.
Yeah, I'm trying to find what exactly it was because I just wanted to see the comparison of a.
I know Bull Nakano was probably involved, probably because I know they talked about that with Tam Nakano. No relation, by the way. Because again, Tam Nakano and Kyrie joined a very elite, short list of athletes to compete singles-wise in the Tokyo Dome. Kyrie, though, to her extent of her career, she joins an even more exclusive list of individuals that competed not only in New Japan in the Tokyo Dome, but also competed on the grandest stages in WWE. Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
Yes, saying.
Yeah, because I was hoping to know what it was so I could make a comment about the women's match in 2023.
You would have to look at if it was at Tokyo Dome, you have to look at Tokyo Dome January 4th events and see what that event was. If it had to be called the Games of a different name of sorts, because I know I was researching that when I looked up Antonio Inoki and Keiji Muto ahead of my simple predictions and preview video with FTW Productions, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up myself ahead of the review. Stay tuned, folks, for a simple recap review further with me, James, Casey, and possibly Kuzan as well Sunday on Wrestle Kingdom and New Year's Dash. As he looks that up, we talk about international showcasing, crossover, and people making history. FTR made their way in the Tokyo Dome for the first time ever, competed against Bishamon. Bishamon won back the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, as we saw. Great match. We crowned the first NWA World Television Championship. Saxby Jr. submitted Ren Narita, nearly took his left arm off his body as Katsuyori Shibata, heavily influenced by both, watched on from ringside. Tama Tonga finally surpassed his master, and according to the backstage, Carl was very proud, and apparently Tama Tonga's daughter, that was cute, has nothing really bad against Uncle Carl. So I guess the feeling is mutual. Congrats, Tama Tonga, once again, never overweight champion. The genius himself, Keiji Muto, won his final match in NWPW at the Tokyo Dome alongside Tanahashi and Shota Umino against Los Noves de Japón, Bushi, Sanada, and Naito. Bushi, surprise, surprise, in the fall. Did I not call it? I'm just saying, did I not freaking call it? Fatal four-way for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, and this is another thing that people might be getting tired. And you want to talk about faces, at least Hiromu's got, I don't know what you call it, personality, character, more of something. Now he's a 5-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. When Master Wato came this close, beating Tajimori, Master Wato, and El Desperado. And as you subtly alluded to when it came to the story, Tom, with the really 40-minute conversation in one cleaner's backstage comments between Kenny by God Omega and Will Ospreay, where Will Ospreay tried to use what made him great in the past to shape him for the present, to try and guide himself to a brighter future, still was not enough. And in our main event, Switchblade Jay White was outpowered and outmatched by Kazuchika Okada on the grandest stage of them all, making the record 4-2, and Okada being the second person ever to kick out of the Blade Runner. And that was Wrestle Kingdom. And New Year's Dash literally set up a title program for every freaking championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Simply put, just for guys. That is the dumbest name for a group I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it is.
Would you prefer
yes,
that?
It is.
Would you prefer that or House of Torture?
I retract my statement. Calm down, King. Minoru Suzuki, Ren Narita, and Desperado have set sights on the 6-minute heavyweight championships against House of Torture. Please win. By the way, Yujiro, where's Pita? I was expecting Pita. Where's Pita?
Me too.
That disappointed me. I'm just gonna say there's only that's one of two bunnies I actually care about in the industry. Where's Peta? Anyway, sorry, not sorry. Just for Guys made their official announcement, led by Taka. Now, whether or not Taka is gonna be actually competing or just managing, don't know. The guy can pull up a suit though. I'll give him credit. As Doki, Taiji, and Yoshinobu Kawamaro. Doki once again getting the better of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, setting him and Kamaru up for a title shot. While Will Ospreay, one of you talk about him becoming Unravel, seems to now be in a year-long get together or go somewhere else journey, and it looks to start it against the Holy Emperor, Taiji. I'm looking very forward to this exhibition when you think about the Black Saint of New Japan that's come so far as a wrestler versus somebody that virtually felt like he was on top but can't overcome the greatest things in New Japan Pro Wrestling, Okada and Omega. I gotta imagine that's gotta be some point on his list to try and overcome this year. We also, of course, found out that Bishamon are going to defend, most likely, the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships against TMDK's Shane Hayes and Mikey Nichols, while Zack Sabre Jr. will be defending the NWW World Championship against Tomoshi E and training his own personal young boy in Kosei Fujita. Why we was like, what about me, man?
Which, by the way, before I let you continue,
go ahead.
Has ever a young lion been recruited by a faction?
Not that I can recall, if I'm honest with you.
I know. Like, do you want to count Blackpool Combat Club unofficially with Moxley and Shota Umino?
Yeah, before Blackpool Combat Club was a thing, though, I mean, he was under the learning tree, I feel like, a John Moxley, but he was never really recruited anything. I mean, Death Riders never became truly a faction in New Japan Pro Wrestling, so I would say no. I know Greto Khan at one point was trying to recruit Yota Tsuji from underneath Tanahashi. Yeah. That's why we had that one-on-one program. Never came to be. So I would say no, that's certainly a first. And I don't know necessarily how far that's going to go. According to Backstage, though, Zack Sabre Jr. is going to do everything he can with this guy, including teach him English. I guess that means learning more than just the word dickhead.
Right.
Oh, God, that's freaking funny. I don't care what you tell me. That's still freaking funny. Shota Umino, as you alluded to, looks like he's setting up a program with Tetsuya Naito, so we'll see how that's going to be. I guarantee it's not going to be tranquilo. EOP took the cheap way out and hit Tamatonga in the face with the belt, the Neverweight Championship. But looks like he wants to go after the title, while Tamatonga called out him to quit acting like a bitch. Face me one-on-one like a man. Speaking of one-on-one, one person will leave Japan forever. As Switchblade Jay White followed up with his backstage comments and challenged Hikuleo after I feel like he was more unraveled than freaking Will Ospreay. Assaulted the man with a chair and a blade rod to the point. Kenta, ELP were kind of like, calm down, man. It's freaking over. Why Kenta feels like he's going to be facing Tanahashi forever and is freaking sick of it. And Taiji Shimori, he's pissed off against Master Wato particularly. Why Hiromu was pinned by Yo, and it looks like Yo wants to go after the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship with a more renewed confidence than ever. So, credit's due. Good for him. And, of course, as you alluded to in the main event, Aaron Henare came this close to pinning the Rainmaker. Why Shigeru Takagi? He's going to face the Rainmaker first for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And Kenny Omega shocked us all. Definitely brought more eyes to New Japan World in the longest time. And Jeff Common and him are set up for a collision course some point in AEW. Would not surprise me if it's in the Cow Palace, where that title was first incepted with Kenny Omega beating the Stone Pit Bull for it. And that was New Japan's literal beginning ahead of the New Beginning tour, despite the fact Pro Wrestling Noah and NJPW will have a crossover Wrestle Kingdom event during that time.
I found it.
Oh, good. What was it?
Oh God.
Uh-oh. I don't like this.
To be fair, this was probably under the short-term era of Enochiism, if not near its end, so I can't wait to hear what it was.
It was New Japan.
Oh, okay.
And was it New Japan?
Women's wrestling. It was all Japan. Women's pro wrestling.
That makes sense because that's
and guess what the match was for that was for the women's title.
Go ahead.
Medusa?
Bull Nanako and WWF Women's Champion Alundra Blaze.
I knew it.
Except, you want to know something I found out? And when you hear this, I'm just going to tell you, you're going to look at Triple H and say, hey, Triple H, Your Evolution show sucked. You didn't do what they did. You want to know what they did?
What?
What?
This was an all women's promotion match, a pay-per-view event called Big Egg Wrestling Universe that took place in the Tokyo Dome on November 20th, and it was attended by 32,000 fans, but it might have been over 42,000.
And
you want to know how long the show lasted?
Well, you're only talking about one match, so I imagine
that one match was about 9 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay, so trying to run the course.
Yeah.
But how long was the show?
10 hours.
Jesus!
It was an all-women show, 10-hour extravaganza.
How long was
all
that
matches?
How long was that match card?
Let's see. The longest match on that card was the 19th match of 23 matches.
23 matches.
Okay, I'm not that crazy, believe it or not, folks.
Yeah, there were 23 matches on the show. The longest match was AJ Kong and Akira, can't pronounce her last name. It was 20 minutes and 24 seconds. And there was a special impromptu men's match that lasted just 1 minute and 46 seconds, 21 minutes and 46 seconds. But the longest women's match was AJ Kong versus Akira, I can't pronounce the last name. That lasted 20 minutes and 24 seconds. And it generated $4 million in revenue and 1.6 million merchandise sales.
Back in the 1990s, might I add.
Yeah.
That is groundbreaking. That is incredible to hear. And people
and you want to know what they also mentioned? Apparently, this was a cross-promotional one. It featured Joshi Promotions Gaia Japan, GWP, Ladies Legend Pro Wrestling, as well as other shows like Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling, Michinoku Pro Wrestling, WWF.
Yeah.
In addition to wrestlers, the event also featured some male wrestlers, midget wrestlers, female amateur wrestlers, female kickboxers, and female shootboxers.
My goodness.
Can you imagine?
And they lasted for 10 hours.
Can you imagine AEW trying to do something like that where people are like, your pay-per-views are already long, and they do 15 matches
give Tony
4 hours.
Don't give Tony any ideas.
Forbidden Door 2.
No.
Hey, I think now you can all take back WrestleMania's longness that lasted till midnight. Remember that one? That was half the time the Japan show was.
Yeah, it was 7 hours if you include the 2-hour kickoff, and that doesn't include you waiting in line before the doors open, and that does not include the fact that literally that show had 10 matches overall, I think, some nonsense like that. So yeah, oofa magoofa. You're talking about the longest match. That might be the longest wrestling show I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, in fact, let me double check to see what's the longest wrestling show just for the hell of it.
Oh, well, this is But again, folks, that's New Japan Pro Wrestling 51st year beginning. To change a little bit of a tangent, Stardom is already kicking things off with their Triangle Derby as Mina Shirakawa started her own group, Club Venus, bringing back NXT UK superstar, former Stardom player, Zaya Brookside underneath her group, which I find very interesting. And of course, Prominence, they are right now the ones that invaded last year with the Artists of Stardom championships, winning them off Laredo at the end of last year. Julia now leads the company as the World Stardom champion, joining the 3 Daughters of Stardom, Kairi, Mayu Itani, and Io Shirai, as holders of not only the white belt, but the red belt. And her first challenger will be Zulu Suzuki, someone she knows very well, going all the way back to her time in Providence. And the last time these two went one-on-one, 15-minute draw during the 5-star Grand Prix. As Saya Kamatani still has the white belt, looking to surpass not only Tem Nakano's reign, but the record defenses held by Momo Watanabe as she continues to showcase this talent and take on all-comers, taking on Ami Sarai, the future of a Stardom champion. And also, along with that, looks like the never-ending feud with Asume and Starlight Kid will be rekindled as Starlight Kid looks to once again go after the high-speed championship. And that's just some of your highlights right now going on in Stardom during what now is their trios tournament called the Triangle Derby. Much more to come, especially in Osaka next month in February. So, Eric, did you find that little tidbit
Yeah,
of news you were
it's
looking
that
for?
pay-per-view I was talking to you about, the Big Egg Wrestling. That's the longest pay-per-view event in history of wrestling.
Okay.
And here's the thing. And then you got to remember, this show was in the Tokyo Dome, 42,000. It made $8 million in the 90s when women's wrestling was considered who cares about women's wrestling?
To be-
Wait, they made $8
To be
million?
fair, that was the notion held by us here in America. I say us, talking about
No,
the
it was
populace.
even a nation, Japan.
Well, Japan's very particular, I understand, though. But I feel like, again, you got to look at both sides differently. While they both still had that retrospective, I feel Japan was much more critical about it versus America at the time. Not that I'm a historian, I'm just saying.
But yeah, it was like you had, and imagine you all complained about the WrestleMania, how people were tired and numb and everything. Imagine if you were there for 10 hours.
I can't even imagine sitting in a 10-hour seat, let alone sitting in a room for 10 hours. Now, truth be told, you lay in your bed, but you're asleep consciously for 8, sometimes 12 hours if you're me. What? But I mean, sitting, watching a single
And here's the thing.
constant
This was
thing for 10 hours.
And then you got to remember this. This was an inside arena, no open skies, and everyone's cuddled together in 42,000 people in the Tokyo Dome.
Imagine walking out that building and you realize what sunlight looks like, unless it's night. I can see. 10 hours. King, what's the longest? Let's just put it out there. We watch AEW, but let's try and be realistic here. Because what does YouTube do? Crazy loop videos and all day long live streams of things like wrestling. I know Pro Wrestling Eve and Tower Match Wrestling does that, particularly women's matches. What's the longest you can remember staying in one stationary spot, watching something, wrestling or not?
WrestleMania 32.
Well, yeah.
WrestleMania 32.
I mean, you didn't get up from your seat at all for the merchandise stand or a bathroom break?
No, but I just basically, like, I didn't, no bathroom break. I wasn't even hungry. I just sat there in that one spot near ringside.
Now,
were you there
the longest I ever sat for something was Avengers Endgame, which was 3 hours.
Yeah, well, that's a movie. He was there at a friggin' professional wrestling event with 100,000 plus people in the AT&T Stadium. I imagine you were there during kickoff and not beforehand.
Yep.
So you were there likely for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6 hours in that seat alone.
Oh, along with some friends. Yes, I was.
Good Lord. 10 hours, though. That's too much. I mean, again, 7 hours. WrestleMania 35, I think, is still the longest one in history. And people fell asleep during Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. And that was like halfway in the show, I think. If halfway. I think that was right after the Iconics won the freaking
WrestleMania 35, was it?
Yeah, it was.
It was 5 hours and 20 minutes.
Where everyone got blinded by the red light outside.
The red light outside. Were you talking about a traffic light?
No, the Randy Orton AJ Styles match.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We can't see. We can't see. We can't see. I remember that. They couldn't even see the Titantron because the lights were so damn bright they were reflecting off the damn Titantron screens.
Oh, God. That's insane to hear that there was a pay-per-view that was double the length of WrestleMania 35.
With over double the matches. Put that in perspective. Why AEW has done 15 matches in 4 hours. 0 hour included.
Oh, God.
The quantity
I hope he
versus
changes
the
that
quality.
formula this year. I hope he changes that formula. I hope. I really do hope.
Well, let's go ahead and close this thing out by talking about AEW's year so far with the new AEW. Maybe what we can expect, maybe from hopefully a new production standpoint. As we saw, bringing that sports-eccentric feel, they now are red versus blue from the ground up. Titantron colors included. Bye-bye tunnels. I like the sense. Got a more, I want to say simpler aesthetic, but it still feels big. And overall, it definitely feels, easier to look at. You notice the AEW logo now is all white, no gold letter in the middle. I wonder if you noticed that particularly, King. And so far, we're kind of seeing the direction of the wrestlers they're going to, I feel like, rely on to kick things off. Darby Allin beat the King of Television for the TNT Championship, become 2-time TNT champion. Ricky Starks beat Chris Jericho in the opener, but it looks like he and the Jeremy Society are going to have a program. So Ricky Starks need to absolutely find some company. Lucha Underground rivalry was renewed between AR Fox and Swerve, as again, we wonder what the hell Mogul Affiliates is going to become or what it could lead to. We also had MJF setting up the first quarter of the AEW World Championship program with Bryan Danielson, to the point if Bryan Danielson runs the gauntlet of win and losses matter to become number one contender through February 8th, it will be AEW Revolution in the main event. That, again, Cindy G, lucky damn it, lucky, will be at live for the AEW World Championship, Triple B, MJF versus Bryan Danielson, 1 hour Iron Man match.
Yes.
And the last time I recall, particularly 1 hour Iron Man match, and maybe you all can fact check me for this, was John Cena versus Randy Orton at Bragging Rights 2010. Other matches have only been 30 minutes, men or women, any company you can think of, as far as what I can remember.
I'll go check.
I say we got our inquiry here to look on that, but I can't recall of what you other than what you just said.
Exactly. Hikaru Shida, what the fuck moment indeed. Is she maybe turning heel after being snuffed by Saraya?
Oh no, you were technically right. It's the last Iron Man match with John Cena versus Randy Orton for an hour, but then you have to remember the fatal 4-way Iron Man match in NXT that ended in a draw.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about that for reasons, particularly. Also, I gotta give women credit because Susan Suzuki and Risa Sera of Prominence last year I found on a YouTube channel that talks about all these Joshi Pro and Japanese promotions. They had a 60-minute Iron Woman match, and it was
never mind. It wasn't the last one.
Didn't think so.
Hooray, we're good. That wasn't the last 60-minute Iron Man
I think
match.
mine was probably the last one.
Nope. It was Josh Alexander versus TJP in Impact 2021 for the X Division title.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Damn, how did I forget about that? That was a hidden gem of a freaking match. And it went into overtime.
Noah.
Pandemic. Give me a damn break. Pandemic. All right, there going. I can't remember everything. The Pillar and the Killer, Data Breaker DMD, and Jamie Hayter. I still thinking Jamie Hayter is going to take the damn head off the doctor.
Oh, by the way, speaking of things, when we were talking about the WWE part, I just got some word from SmackDown. Guess what happened? For the first time and probably in her entire career, Charlotte was cheered.
Now, are you sure it wasn't filtered?
Are you sure it wasn't like filtered?
They were chanting, "Thank you, Charlotte."
Okay.
Wow.
To be fair, to play devil's advocate and maybe also play WWE fan, I think the WWE fan base respects and recognizes more the actual tolerance that Charlotte Flair shares among the WWE universe.
Since we're talking about that, Rhonda was on her Twitch stream this morning, and she said this. You know, I'm getting tired. I'm getting kind of tired of Charlotte. Maybe I should run the tag division for a while.
She did talk
with
about
who? Shayna Baszler.
Basically, she did talk about at one point, King, like you did say, she wouldn't mind just doing a tag run. She's kind of tired of being a singles champion. And if you're gonna actually make those titles seem like there's something, which I still believe is on Damage Control. Those might be the two that actually do something with them. I thought
also, this was someone claimed about Charlotte's return promo on Twitter. And when I heard this, I was like, I'm going to watch it, but I have
how much to highlight tomorrow like I always do.
They said Charlotte sounded like an actual human being.
Gee.
For now. And I was like, no, there's no way Triple H did that. He somehow did that.
And I stand by what we opened up with. Triple H versus the other.
Yes. Oh, but there is something that happened. Sonya Deville fought Charlotte in a short match for the women's title. And apparently Sonya and Charlotte managed to actually get something cheered by the crowd.
A finish?
No. Remember how Sami Zayn accidentally said Usi and now everyone keeps saying it?
Yes.
Usi?
Yeah, well, Charlotte and Sonya apparently made one up their own. Whoop that trick. And then the crowd started chanting it. We're in Memphis. We'll make everything go over somehow.
Buy a shirt. Buy the shirt. Expect the shirt. Buy the
Whoop
shirt.
that trick. Well, let's see. Where do I know that reference from? What's that one Terrence Howard movie? What was that one song? It's hard out here for a pimp. Hustle and Flow. Hustle and Flow. That's what it is.
Oh, so that reminds me.
You would know, Mr. Pop Culture. You would know.
Oh, that reminds me. Scarlett fought in the wrestling ring.
Wow, they finally pulled the trigger on her.
Scarlett finally had her WWE match?
Yeah, she teamed up with her husband, Karrion Kross, and took on
figured.
No One Cares About Madcap Moss and Emma, the Jobber.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
all about me.
Yep. The real life couple versus the married couple. I see what they're doing. Well,
actually, I think that was a jobber match since Karrion Kross has said he wants to go after Rey Mysterio.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Well, I mean, again, you got everyone use your spot, right? You know what? Use your spot. Speaking of women,
also, Ricochet and Top Dollar fought. I wonder how that travesty was.
For the love of God, if freaking Top Dollar.
Yeah, well, good news. Top Dollar lost.
Okay. Whew.
Okay, but did he do a top rope move and botched it again?
No idea, but I did hear that apparently because of this, he is out of the Rumble. It was a Rumble qualifier match because that's a thing.
Okay, good.
Well, hold on, I gotta play devil's advocate again. Triple H, I believe that, but if somehow the other guy has influence towards it, what if they have a last shot over the top rope battle royal?
Whoa. I just now thought of it too because the Royal Rumble post came out and it was electrifying.
Yeah.
I wonder what that could possibly mean. Just saying.
Also, Cody was on there. Way to give away your spoilers.
I mean, look, let's just put it out there. Cody Rhodes is the guy to be the WWE champion in 2023. It's a matter of when.
Unless the other guy has Dwayne winning the Rumble.
Well, actually, here's the thing. Here's two things. One, two-night Mania. You want to make Roman God? Go and do that probably.
Or have him lose
also,
one night.
Guess what was reported? Guess what was previously reported, but now after what happened, it can't happen. You want to know what was reported?
What?
Apparently, Seth Rollins was supposed to dethrone Roman's WWE title run, and he would keep the Universal belt and take it to WrestleMania and fight Cody. Well, if you can throw that out the window, Seth Rollins is injured.
Oh, damn.
Oh, the injury bug. No, that's
here we go again, King. And we're just starting. Of course, that injury happened. Wait, did it happen on Monday night or did it happen Monday night last year?
No, it happened on this Monday night.
Okay, so yeah, we're starting off. We're starting off. I get it.
We're starting off. Yep.
Bloody brilliant. Bloody freaking brilliant. And also, speaking of women, we talk about Hikaru Shida might be suddenly heel turning. Why? Speculation about Mercedes Moné might be on her way to LA. That remains to be seen. As Saraya did pick Tony Storm, and so far that DMD and Jamie Hayter. They seem to be on the same page. Even got a new shirt, the Killer and the Pillar. I kind of like that wordplay. We'll see how far that goes.
Also, good news on Impact front. Josh Alexander, as of January 4th, is now the longest reigning Impact World Champion.
He surpassed Bobby Roode. Great retrospective video. And also, I gotta wonder, is Mickie James literally her love note, her send-off, or her ultimate finishing achievement, where a wrestler wants to end things their way? Does Mickie James beat Jordynne Grace next week for the Knockouts Championship? Or does she go home without the finale she's looking for?
I don't know.
Remains to be seen, but I'm going to play early prediction.
Wait. Who is she fighting again next week?
Jordynne Grace.
Oh, yeah. I guess what she said in an interview.
Uh-oh.
She thinks she's been overlooked by fans because of tribalism.
Who am I to say anything? But there might be a little bit of actuality to that, unfortunately.
Yeah, a little bit.
I would also say partly because, I mean, no offense to Impact fans, but she's on Impact. sadly not that many watch anymore.
And those that don't even watch it insult it. It's pathetic when you think about Impact, despite the Bully Ray program going on right now, has a very strong roster and good stuff going for them.
Yeah. Also, is Jordan Grace a heel?
Technically speaking, no. I would say Mick is the heel right now because at this point,
Okay.
don't underestimate me.
Because I thought of something that they were going to do as like, oh, if Mickey James really wanted to do it, she probably would. You want to know what I was thinking they could have done?
What?
And I wouldn't be surprised if Mickey thought this was an idea at one point.
What?
The way to beat your opponent is to put them in a garbage bag.
Mickey wouldn't do that. And Impact wouldn't do that either. There's too much respect for women's wrestling in that company.
They teased her return by bringing garbage bags.
They did do that.
Well, again, Impact. Well,
also, I must remind you, this is the company that said, "Hey, remember that Vince Russo idea that everyone hated? Let's bring that back for our 20th anniversary. Reverse Battle Royale."
I don't know if that was a Scott D'Amore decision or a Tommy Dreamer decision, but whoever made that decision deserved to have been fired. But I do understand where you're coming from. But as far as the women go, I feel they have too much respect for the Knockouts division with the talent they put into it, including the 4 that will fight for number one contendership. Deanna Purrazzo, long may she reign. Masha Slamovich, one of the hardest workers of last year. Taylor Wilde, knockout veteran. And the one that I think is definitely going to be breakout 2023 for the Knockouts Women's Division, added to the 4 now, Killer Kelly. Let's freaking go. Killer Kelly, this is your year. Like Kylan King, it was your year last year. But Kylan King just still showed a good match. And speaking of women, just to close things out, King, you got to talk about that bitch. It looks like her and Red Velvet are on a collision course for the TBS Championship, where once again, I have to remind you, the real baddie still employed. Well, I think Red Velvet turned in her resignation. I'm just saying, man. Looks like we're picking up the rivalry that started Jade in AEW in the first place.
True, but let's be real. Red Velvet is just filler for our alien companion,
which we hope.
At this rate, anybody is filler at this rate until
it has to be, Chris. It has to be.
She comes back.
It has to be.
Also, speaking of the women wrestling, guess what WWE was planning to do for WrestleMania for this year for the women's division? And then they thought, hey, we could do that match, but we also hate our fan steal. Even though Vince was gone, we're going to scrap it anyways.
Becky and Ronda?
Yeah, they were going to do it. Then they scrapped it before Charlotte came back. So they were like, screw that match. The wells dried up on that, even though we haven't even used it at all.
Even Becky said that she felt relief.
Yeah.
Because, well, I mean, if you look at Ronda's performance as a relationship since she's been back, she could care less.
Yeah, Ronda's just can't.
Well, to be fair, Ronda did own up to what happened at Survivor Series.
Well, there you go. And honestly, that was the turning point. She owned up to it.
She admitted, yeah, I screwed up. It was my fault. And I was like, wait, you're not going to trash the fans? Oh, God, Seth Rollins must not compute.
Again, WWN logic, even under the Triple H era of positive morale and better creativity, you still can't use WWN logic in the same sentence 100% of the time.
Nope.
Also, I got sad news on the AEW front. Jeff Hardy may not be returning to pro wrestling at all now.
Yeah, I heard.
Probably for the best.
I feel like at this point, though, at the end of the day, you got to separate the person from the wrestler. The man's a father. The man's got a family. The man's got to worry about his longevity in life. You got to know when it's time to step away permanently. Jeff, I feel for you. This is it. Fade away. Classify yourself as...
Oh, God. We didn't even talk about the one important aspect.
And what's that as we close this out?
This whole week.
And what's that as we close this out? Because Rampage is on.
The Great Muta versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Damn right. The King of Strong Style backs his debut in WWE NXT. Dallas against Sami Zayn, using the mist of Great Muta against him to beat him at Pro Wrestling Noah, despite the fact he didn't come out to Subconscious. He came out to his WWE theme with that instrumental violinist and a war drum.
Lee England Jr.
Entrance. Yep. What an entrance. What a match. What a moment. And once again, Pro Wrestling Noah crashed with NJPW. But what's to come from there? That remains to be seen too. As again, folks, this year just begun, but it's already been a huge year for ATW, all things wrestling. And that is where we will leave you for now. at the end of this impromptu. So thank you once again for tuning in to the rebirth of this constant discussion. Will we be back before AEW Revolution again? Only time and story may tell. Before we conclude and bid everyone adieu, Eric, again, I feel this was a tremendous idea. Guys, I miss doing this with you too. Anything you want to plug, promote, and where can people find you? Eric, you first.
Well, because Twitter hates us, I had to go ahead and say that Linktree is your destination to get all to my content from Neo Reality Collective, NRE The Wrestleverse, and Neo Reality Entertainment, the original channel, and NRE Omni Gaming, because I can't promote any of my Linktree stuff because Twitter blocks that now, and they will destroy your account if you do that. So I'm screwed.
Yeah, even if you were to pay yourself like King paid for some reason to be verified, I still can't believe you put money down to do that, brother. But you do you.
Oh, don't worry. I had to do it too because I still had some benefits off of using Twitter Blue, but they were going to cancel my subscription if I didn't upgrade. Luckily, I went for the $8 route and not the $11 route.
I'll use my $11 towards another wrestling subscription, whether or not it's freaking title match again or the Ring of Honor Club or some other thing.
Also, good news. Sting says he already has his idea finished to end his career on. Yay.
Oh, really?
And he did say Darby Allin's going to be part of it.
I feel like he's going to be the guy to make Darby Allin the freaking icon. The next icon. He's going to be the one to do it.
What if they actually do Darby versus Sting?
I think that would be poetic justice. I honestly would.
That could at least be a lot better than what happened last time when he wrestled the singles match.
Yeah, exactly. But again, only time will tell, as we're only one Dynamite in, and Rampage is literally ahead in 3 minutes, and I have commentary work to do. So, Eric, always a pleasure. Gang, you know we're going to be back next week, Wednesday, for one thing we didn't talk about, with the whole fact that we might get John Miles from that page if a CAT scan comes back to his brains okay, along with that women's tag, Saraya and Tony Storm for Stubborn DMD and Jamie Hayter. You also have, of course, Coach, your end game in the best of 7 series, which I know you have a lot to talk about and a lot to come up with a good play too, besides Big Bad Don. But we'll talk more about that next week. And if you want to apply for more, where can people find you?
You guys know the usual. Follow me on Twitter, AMT Roman numeral 23, number 23. Also follow me on Instagram, AMT Roman numeral 23.23.
As simple as that. And folks, you want to know more about me? Know this. For I am just a simple man, a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it. Find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Foster 1916 for all things wrestling. If SummerSlam is in Detroit, yes, I will be going to at least engage and reconvene with friends. Who knows what else might come from that too? That's just one thing on my list for 2023, along with AEW events. But anyway, I'll be keeping you up to date with all things wrestling. Shout out, of course, to our entire family on the Twitter. Constantly here with Cine predicting panels, some retrospectives. There'll definitely be more ATW views. We are back, folks. So stay tuned for more on that. Stay tuned for
Booker T hated on Sasha Banks again.
And Booker T is a fool, and also he's a shill.
Yeah.
He's now saying she should have spoken Japanese because there's no such thing as English speakers in New Japan.
Kenny Omega used that for a shoot promo with Ospreay. That had different context, though. And also, to learn a whole language is not as easy as going to Rosetta Stone. Stay tuned for my continued voice takeaways and reactions on the Jeff Meacham Multiverse Media for all pay-per-views, live shows, and all sorts of things, too, including, literally, if you're watching this right now, I got to move over there in a couple of minutes to cover Rampage and Battle of the Belts 5, where we will see if we embrace the change, among other things, too.
Jeff Meacham, I said hi, and I tell him, James, I'm sorry you had to hear the Vince stuff.
Well, again, he had to hear it. He had to read it. Tomorrow night, he'll probably talk about it, whether he wants to or not. But I do think, as I always allude to, there are no winners, no losers, no betters, just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. And at the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, treasure your families, and do your best to just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. It's as simple as that. And with that being said, thank you so much again for once again tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell, this video goes live on demand on this channel. Hit the subscribe button, help me keep growing this YouTube community. The content creativity is not laying up anytime soon. And follow the entire ATW family. Their Twitter handles will be in the description down below. For the entire W crew, and for Eric Brown at Neo Entertainment, and for my all-elite brother, King A-Tring Anthony too, we thank you all for tuning in for the first ATW View impromptu of 2023. More to come, but in ATW fashion, I bid y'all now a fine adieu. No lame brain joke needed, James. Dadgummit. No price like loser horn either, despite the fact that WWE, Michael belly up. Goodbye, and good freaking nights. Bang. And you see what he has, right? Let him in. Reverse of that. Don't let Vince in. Don't. Just don't.